Blah.
Hey, what's going on? So the following is a collection of the previous live streams covering the subject of Dan Frampton and his struggles with NOFX. I tried to, hold some kind of compassion for Dan, or tried to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt on certain things. And as each live stream progressed, more and more my patience kind of wore thin. And now I am collecting all three live streams here for you to watch in succession. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you'd rather just watch them the way they are. I don't know. I've seen some of Dan's more recent videos and what he's doing, and I think it's kind of pathetic that Dan asks for so much grace as it relates to the NOFX situation, but then will turn around and make some of the videos that I've been seeing him make. And I don't know. It's just kind of whack. It's kind of lame. There's nothing else to really say about it other than I just think it's ridiculous. And so, I know that he's tried to kind of sweep that situation under the rug, the NOFX. And yeah, I guess, I don't know, he'll have Fat Mike will at some point do an interview on his channel and whatever. But for those who, want the actual gist of what happened there, or as close of a sort of piecing together, because a lot of that stuff got deleted, some of the, the Instagram posts and the videos, everything got deleted. And really the only record is the videos that I made on this channel, at least giving kind of a, I don't know if it's unbiased, but it's as close to, recreation of maybe some of what had happened. And, or you could just call it a greatest clips package, whatever you want to call it. But, the reason why I felt like I needed to put this ahead of the shows, because some of my opinions about Dan have changed. Like I said, my opinions about Dan have changed since I made some of these videos. And I don't really think very highly of him, period. I always thought he was kind of a goober, but just seeing some of the schlop, whatever, schlock, whatever you want to call it, that he is creating, I'm not about it at all. I'm really not. I don't think he shouldn't be making, hey, listen, it's a free internet. He can do whatever he wants. He's just like me, he's another guy on the internet just making his own opinions about things. And if that's what he wants to waste his time doing, he is free to do so. But I think I think the persona that he projects, that he calls a character, and the way that he carries himself since the NOFX thing is really disingenuous of, what happened that weekend and what kind of person Dan is, and how Dan wants, or Dan has asked for, like I said, some sort of grace, but won't extend that same grace maybe to others. I don't know, whatever. In any case, here's all three of the videos. And I've done this before with like Michael Graves stuff and some other stuff, like combined the videos. Some people like really, really long streams. Some people don't. But that's what this is right now. So you may have watched this already. If you have, you should go and watch another video on YouTube or watch something else on my channel. We've got lots of stuff. And we've lots of stuff in the Patreon too. There's a vast Patreon with a ton. I have to go because I have a work thing right now. So I have to go and get that started. But there's a ton of Patreon videos. Got a full archive of Patreon stuff. And you could become a YouTube member too, either or. Cheaper. The Patreon's cheaper than the YouTube. Different margins, the whole thing, whatever. Okay, in any case, peace, hair grease, all that and the rest.
Dead body bone. I got a dead body bone. Let me tell you what, you don't leave me alone. I got a dead body bone. I'm gonna tell you again, dead body bone. Hi, welcome to tonight's show. I told you I would be back. It's tomorrow night. We're now in the future. It's tomorrow night, and we're here. And we're going to take a look at that video of our friend who's not really our friend because we don't know him, a Canadian fellow by the name of Dan Frampton, absolutely having a fit on the internet, like a real fit on the internet. I'm surprised he posted this for so many reasons. And joining me in the side saddle is my good friend Jeremy, DJ Spicy Hands, who you've seen here before. He is when he's not spinning the discs, when he's not melting wax on his hot turntable. He joins me every once in a while as a guest here to indulge in my whimsy. And so he's back here. Let's bring him out. You should give him a follow on Instagram if you could. He's trying to get to 1,000 Instagram followers so he can properly live stream. And he's got funky, fresh. Show him your hands, Jerry. Show him your hand. Look at those things. Look how he does that. Look what he's doing.
You know who talks like that is David Lynch. The way David Lynch, and they have these wonderful Coca-Cola glasses, and
yeah, and all the
that is that we can
the woody woodpecker ducks too. He found those woodies on the side of the road, and that led to a thing. Listen, before we jump into this video real quick, I also, in addition to following Jerry on his Instagram, we'll put the Instagram handle. Can you type it out into the live chat as well for everybody?
I'm unable to.
What?
Sending messages is only supported for hosts. Enjoy the
No. Go to the YouTube page, and under the live chat, you'll be able to do that. And while he's doing that, I'm going to tell you all about
what did I do?
RIOTstickers.com, which is the official sponsor of the Frumess channel. That's right. Riot Stickers is where you can go to get all your stickers. If you want to get a sticker of Dan Frampton losing his marbles over Fat Mike from NOFX, you can do that at riotstickers.com/Frumess. Link is down in the description. In fact, hey, Dan Frampton, you should get Dan Frampton stickers. Look, $79 will get you 1,000 stickers. Give them to all your guys, all your boys, your buddies, your brouhahas, and you can hype your channel and everything. It's great. Go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. Free shipping and handling. 3-inch by 3-inch stickers. UV protect. We have a UV coating to protect from the sun. They're printed on vinyl to protect from weather. You can't go wrong with riotstickers.com. So go there. Free shipping and handling. Work with Sharpie Riot. CEO Sharpie Riot is a dream to work with. I've worked with him so much on this channel, and he's just a fucking dream to work with. Great fucking guy. Riotstickers.com. When we come back, we're going to talk about this guy named Dan Frampton and absolutely just melting down over NOFX and the NOFX documentary and Fat Mike. So we'll be right back.
Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb.
Okay, we're back. We're back now. And so Jeremy, let me get you up to speed real quick so we can jump right into this. I do all sorts of stuff here on the channel. Sometimes I do reaction videos where you watch something, you pause it, and you react to it, talk about commentary. In this case, sometimes I follow NOFX stuff. I know you're not like a punk rocker into punk rock particularly, but you know who the band NOFX is. And I'm sure maybe you've heard the name Fat Mike has possibly reached your orbit in some way, shape, or form. There
recently, actually. Yeah,
there
was some scuttlebutt somewhere on Facebook, something he posted, something he said. I don't recall what it was, but there was some discussion, and I was just, I guess, struck by how many people in the comments were. There was something that was like, well, if Fat Mike says it, it's basically law. You know what I mean? And I was like, just some basically.
I don't know what kind of credibility Fat Mike has. I personally, as Fat Mike is not a positive or a negative to me. He's just Fat Mike. He's a force of nature. I just sort of, I take him at what he is. I do like he had a podcast where I thought was really great. I like NOFX. I saw NOFX on their last New York show. I was there for that. That was a lot of fun. I couldn't sit there and do an album by album deep dive on them for sure. As I said. But I've been following the sort of the situation there, and basically, as you know, they broke up, and it turns out that there's another guy named Eric Melvin, and there was some. It turns out that he and Eric Melvin had a falling out. That's for sure. We don't know exactly what the story is, but for sure they had a falling out, and it's 3 against 1 sort of situation. Any which way, this guy Dan Frampton, he's just an internet guy, just like me, just like you. And he loves talking about NOFX, and he was really excited because Fat Mike started commenting in his YouTube video and was like, you talk a lot of shit, but why don't you come hang out or something? I'm paraphrasing here. Come down to South by Southwest and see the premiere of the new NOFX documentary. And Dan is a Canadian. So it's like, he's like, in order for him to get down there is, I guess, no easy task. But basically, initially he wasn't going to go because he couldn't afford to get down there. Understandably so. Fat Mike offered to fly him down there. Very generous thing, and wanted to, I guess, do an interview or they hang out or something related to the channel. Clearly, Fat Mike had some reason to do this. I've seen some comments suggest that the whole thing was an internet troll. I don't know if that's what it was, but this is Dan Frampton coming back from that South by Southwest weekend where the premiere happened and talking about what it was like. He actually did fly down there. As far as I know, he flew down there on Fat Mike's dime, at least that part. In terms of the other things, hotel and everything else, I don't know who paid for that. It's just kind of funny, though, to watch him sort of crash out. And so that's what we're going to kind of take a look at. I'm not looking to talk shit on Dan Frampton. He's just kind of, he's kind of a goober. I don't know. It's just funny, That's it.
I love a good meltdown.
Yeah. So I think he does. This guy, it's, what the thing is about him? What the thing is about Dan Frampton? I think personally, I think that he just, I think he takes himself way too seriously on the internet. That's what I think it is. And that's why I think he was so mad. And that's what I'm saying beforehand. I've watched the video. I want you watch the video. You tell me if you agree. Okay? You tell me if you agree. All right. So let's share. This is Dan Frampton's channel right here. This is his video. So go subscribe to Dan Frampton. He does all sorts. He talks about punk rock and all sorts of stuff. And he's a wrestling guy and whatnot. I don't know. I've seen a couple of his videos at this point. But here is him absolutely getting really mad. I did this at 1.5 speed, so we're not here all night. Well, hopefully this will go quicker than slower. So we'll watch a chunk and then talk and yada yada yada.
Ladies, how's it going? How's it going? Hope you're doing great. Hope you're having a wonderful day. How am I doing? Well, I'm doing terribly. Thanks for asking. I ended my trip to Austin, this NOFX documentary thing that I was personally invited to, and I ended this trip in a furious rage. And I thought, you know what? I'm being crazy. I just got to give this a couple days. I got to let this simmer a little bit, and I got to maybe let this boil over and reflect. Maybe upon reflection, I'm going to calm down. And guess what? After 2 days of reflection, I am even angrier now as I sit here in my own room than I was when I was personally slighted by Fat Mike and all of his glad-handing yes men. All of these cronies, all of these hapless lackeys just trying to juggle this event and failing absolutely miserably. Well, now the gloves are off, okay? I wanted this to be nice. I wanted this to be a good time, but that is just not what happened, okay? They unleashed the ruthless gatekeeper, and he's coming out furious, and I'm coming out also swinging, okay?
So he calls himself the ruthless gatekeeper, and I know he's kind of joking about that, but there's I feel like he really does think of himself as this ruthless gatekeeper, and that's what I mean when I say that he takes himself really seriously. What are your first impressions of our friend Dan here?
Well, I see a little sly smirk, so I don't know how much he, if he's being disingenuous or if he's kind of joking, kind of like you said. But you said, so gatekeeper of what? What's the impression that you get he is or fancies himself a gatekeeper of?
Yeah, I mean, I guess punk rock. I don't know. I don't know what the gatekeeper is in reference to, Again, hey, I'm trying to figure this out as much as you are, as much as anybody is. But I just thought this video was, I don't know, let's just keep watching.
because this went horribly. The documentary itself was moving and memorable, but the subject matter within that movie, well, it's a weapon if it falls into the wrong hands. And would you look at that? I got a pair of wrong hands right here, because this was a pile of fucking shit. A waste of my time. I'll tell you that for free right now. Now, I wouldn't be out here in vitriolic rage, putting all this out into the public, laying out all this dirty laundry, if it wasn't already the fucking story I was telling on this channel, okay? If it wasn't already made public in my comment sections for months now, okay? If someone else personally slighted me, if someone else personally did something up to me, I'm not gonna cam up and rage.
So, I mean, he's pretty pissed, right?
Yeah, I think he is definitely pissed, and I'm curious to hear what about. I mean, it sounds like the documentary. He thinks the documentary was a load of crap.
Oh, he'll explain it. He'll definitely explain it. But it's just that, like, you know what it is too? Like, at the end of the day, you know, all of us little internet guys, we're just little fucking barnacles at the bottom of a testicle. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the way that he postures himself within talking about himself and NOFX, the graciousness to fucking spend money to fly this guy down, and for him to like come on here and talk so much shit, I think is kind of a little funny, you know, because that's the thing you have to remember. It could be that Fat Mike was trying to make a monkey out of him, but at the same time, you know, if you're going to spend money to fly somebody down, I don't know, rich people do crazy things. Like that sounds like something that a rich person would do, and Fat Mike is very rich. But if you're going to like fly somebody out there, it seems like Fat Mike is genuine enough that the intention was to have a good time with Dan Frampton. So
He's like, this isn't my kind of content. Normally, when I'm the ruthless gatekeeper, it's tongue in cheek. And guess what? No tongue, no cheek. I, the person I am, me, Daniel Frampton, I am pissed off to my fucking core because a bunch of fucking drug heads, a bunch of fucking cokies were out there mishandling absolutely everything. They wasted my time. They wasted your time. They lied to me. They lied to my audience. They hyped this up and they dropped the fucking ball. This is bullshit. I don't even know where to fucking start with this piece of shit, okay? Well, where do you start? You start at the beginning of the story, I guess. See, I wanted to just be calm. I want to be like, hey, how's it going, guys? I'm going to tell you this story. And already I'm starting to talk and I'm getting fucking angry. Whew, I'm going to have to center myself. I wrote some of this stuff down. I have a couple notes.
Did you catch that he was drinking out of the Tim Hortons cup because he's from Canada?
I was going to say he must be Canadian because, yeah, Tim Hortons, that's the Canadian spot. We did have one where I went to school in Plattsburgh, New York, because that's basically Canada. So, yeah.
Now, yeah, that's very true. Well, there's a Tim Hortons in White Plains, believe it or not, in the White Plains train station.
That's
there
true.
was,
That's true.
right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Where we both occupied for some time. You know, the other thing too is it's my understanding that Canadians are not this angry. Like, I know I'm speaking in very gross generalization, but like genuinely Canadians are really polite. And he seems like, or what's the word? Ornery? Like just really
ornery. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the reputation, but you know.
Yeah. Exceptions to the rule and whatnot. All right, let's keep playing.
Because I wanted to do like a vlog and then I wanted to do like, I don't know, a movie review kind of thing. And I'm still planning on doing that, but I have no idea what it is I'm shooting right now. I'm just angry after 2 days of this bullshit. Am I going to splice in some stuff to make this like a documentary, to make this like a vlog type thing? Am I going to review the movie? I don't even know as I sit here right now. But before I continue, it wasn't all bad, okay? It was just like the whole event portion of it and the fucking 5 or 6 hours after the event that really, really ground my gears into the fucking ground, okay? Or into dust. Grounded into ground, that doesn't really make sense. But I'm going to start with the positives because I don't want this to be like, oh man, he's so ungrateful. Oh man, he doesn't give a shit about anything. No, because a part of it was amazing. A part of it was so wholesome. I loved being in Texas. I loved eating American fast food. I loved going to American comic book stores. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was so cool to see cactus on the side of the road where normally there wouldn't be cactus where I'm from, you know? So
I mean, I'm happy that he had that experience. And I think that's definitely a net positive in the situation. Like, no matter what happened down there, short of them pulling him on stage and being like, hey, Dan Frampton's here and he's a fucking, and like, he's not anybody who's important enough for that to even happen, you know? So it's just kind of like whatever would happen, getting flown down by a guy who you speak about on the internet flies you down to the fucking premiere of his documentary. It's pretty fucking cool. That's a pretty cool thing. I wouldn't have even made this video. I would, because I only make videos about people who, you know, where the big bridges are so burnt that I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't give a flying fuck. But if there's ever a chance that to have any kind of, maybe he would have had that interview with Fat Mike. I don't know that would ever happen now. Any thoughts, Jerry, before we continue? You're muted. Jerry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
That's
yeah,
okay.
I was reading some of the comments in the chat, just sort of catching up. I mean, yeah, I think basically what you're saying is absolutely correct. You know, I mean, that's a kind and gracious thing to do. So yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes.
Okay, let's keep going.
It was cool to see all that sort of stuff. And then when we go to the event, to this documentary, 40 Years of Fucking Up, a film by NOFX, another really cool thing was I made myself very approachable. I sat very open. I made myself known that I was there. And people kept coming up to me, man. Hey, Ruthless Gatekeeper this, Ruthless Gatekeeper that. Punk Rock iDubbbz over here. Come over here. Nice to see you. Hey, nice to meet you too. It was so cool. Love the podcast, bro. Love the YouTube channel, dog. It was wild.
See, this is what I mean. Like, that's cool that you were recognized and that people clearly, NOFX fans are watching your channel and see you out and about and recognize you. That's a wonderful thing. But did that inflate his sense of importance down there when the reality is that like this is the premiere of a fucking legendary seminal punk band from the 90s documentary, and they have a lot of shit going on, and like sure you're like on the fucking list and you were flown down because you said you couldn't afford to go down there. Like, this is where, to me, I start to go like, you know, hey, calm down, Dan. It's not that big of a deal. It's like, but I don't know.
To get so recognized out there in Texas. But, you know, when you make videos about NOFX and a bunch of NOFX gather in a specific spot, you're bound to get noticed. But the thing is, what kind of sentence was that? God damn it. I'm so furious. I am forgetting how to speak English. So where do I even start? Where do I even start with this thing? Mike invites me down, right? But after he invites me down, it's up to me apparently to do absolutely everything in order to make it happen. And that's fine. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make it happen. So I did everything.
I mean, what do you expect? Do you expect Fat Mike to arrange a passport? And like, you know, I mean, it was nice enough that he fucking paid for your ticket. Like, that's what I don't get.
Yeah, I'm curious what he means by that, right? He says he's going to fly him down, but he makes you like what did he have to like be the one to sign on and like go to Google Flights and buy it with Mike's credit card? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but like if Fat Mike PayPal'd me, like that's what I would expect. Like I had a work trip, right? I had a work trip through my job. I had to fly, you know about this. I went to San Rafael for a training. They didn't pay, they paid for my flight, but I had to book the flight and then they reimbursed me for the flight. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it worked. I don't have access to like an account or something. I would imagine that through a YouTube internet comment transaction of like, hey, here's through email. Hey, I'm going to PayPal you X amount of dollars for a flight, fly down here. And then it's up to you to figure out your fucking passport situation. Does he expect Fat Mike to fucking figure out his passport situation? He says, I wanted to figure that stuff out for myself, but he makes it sound like it was some virtuous thing that he was taking on. But I feel like that would always be something that you would have to take on.
Yeah, let's find out. Let's see where this goes.
In my power to get down there. Now, I don't want to release any DMs or emails or any real names, but if any of this is disputed, I have it all there. I'm just going to show you the receipts. But until that happens, just trust me. It's all there, and I'm not going to mention any real names either, okay? Not until I have to. But that's not where we're sitting right now. So a couple days before I fly down to Austin, Texas, Fat Mike has one of his manager type people give me a call. I don't want to use her real name. Let's call her, I don't know, Melody for the sake of conversation, okay? So Melody calls me up and asks me what screening I wanted to go to. There's a 4 p.m. one and there's an 8 p.m. one, okay? I say, oh, you know what? I want to go to the early showing because then I'm around all day, you know? And then she goes, there's a tailgate as well 2 hours before that. Do you want to go to the tailgate? I go, sure. So what does Melody do after that? She sends me an RSVP invitation. What do I do? As the professional, I immediately respond to it. I say, I would like to go to the early showing and I would like to go to this tailgate type event.
I mean, yes, like communication is professional, but like, do you really think that this situation is really that professional? I mean, I don't know. Like, this is where I'm just kind of like, dude, like you were invited to a screening. You just fucking, you know, get a ticket and fly down there and just go to the fucking screening. Like, you know, it's just, this is where to me, I think this is where he kind of steps out of the lines a little bit for me personally.
Yeah, so I don't know. It sounded like he was about to say that she reached out, wanted to know which showing that he wanted to go. He responded quickly, and he seems to be a point of pride to him that he responded so quickly. and so then what did Melody say after that? Let's find out.
By the way, if you're just joining us, you should follow Jeremy, my guest for this evening. Follow him on Instagram. He's trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so he could be live streaming. Wonderful music. He does a lot of curated, wonderful musical stuff. As I said, he's got spicy hands and they touch his spicy records. Very important. Yeah, he goes, bloop, bloop, bloop. That's what he does. Okay. All right, let's find out what happened with Melanie and Dan Frampton. By the way, he picked the 4:00 showing. Anybody who knows anything about movie premieres, if you think what do you think makes the most sense? Even just as a live, before we press play here, Jerry, as a live like event goer, if you're gonna choose a time to go to a live event, are you gonna go to the 4 p.m. or are you gonna go to like the 8 p.m. or the 10 p.m.?
Personally, at 40 years old, I'm going to the 8.
Okay, fair enough. But I guess I was trying to lead the question, or whatever that term is. If you're looking to go to the event that's going to have the most action, the most appearances, the most whatever.
I guess it's the late show, right?
Maybe, but it's definitely not the 4 p.m.
No, the 4 p.m. is like the I don't know, it's like the soft launch, or maybe it's like
right. Okay, so that's what I want. Yes, that's what I wanted to check with you. You're going to see what Dan says as a result of what I just asked you, but that's why I'm curious to know. See, I think our friend Dan here is just very naive.
This tailgate event was told to me that Fat Mike and the band are all going to be out there. There's going to be music. There's going to be trivia. There's going to be food and smokes and beers and all that. You want to know what I walked up to? 15 confused people, not knowing where a line was, where the tailgate was. It was just 15 confused punks and maybe a cooler of beer in the back of a truck, okay? What kind of tailgate was this? They were still setting up the merch. They were still setting up everything at 2 p.m. when they said this event was set to get started. No, 2 p.m. is when they rolled up to start putting stuff up. They fucking lied to me, man. They fucking just like, no, come here, come to the thing. This is when it's going to be happening. I show up at the thing when it's happening, and they're just starting to set it up. And keep in mind, at this point, I can't tell who's a fan and who's an employee, okay? They all look the fucking same, dude. But I'm like, this is not a tailgate. Whatever the I'm looking at right now is just people confused. They don't know where the movie is, where to line up, where to buy merch. They're all just kind of like milling about, all right? And that's fine. That's cool. People congregate, people gather, friends talk, and that sort of thing. But they were also doing that the block down, and a block down from that, and a block down from that, and a block down from that. It was South by South fucking West, you idiots. And you're advertising this tailgate, and not only advertising this tailgate, getting me to personally RSVP to it when I really just could have walked up like any of these other idiots and just been like, let's grab a beer from the back of this truck. Why did I have to RSVP? Why did I have to talk to a manager to be like, I'm going to be here at the early day, and I'm going to be here at the early time, I'm going to go to the tailgate, and you're going to set up a thing with me and Mike, and I'm going to be there. And I'm not sure if these idiots know how RSVP works, but when you RSVP, the assumption is you're going to be there unless you make them aware that you're not going to be there, right? So I'm going to be there unless I text you, and I was there. Not only was I there at 2 p.m., I showed up at 10 in the morning just so I could walk around Austin, just so I can enjoy the town, just so I can get...
Which is like totally what you should have done. That was a good idea. Like, you're there, like you're taking advantage of being in America, and you're getting to see, you go into a comic book store like you wanted to, you're doing all that stuff. That's great. But Jerry, what do you think of all this? What do you perceive?
I mean, the way I see it is that he has a point that this particular event, this tailgate thing, was not well organized, not well executed. Big fucking deal. So what? Shit happens.
I mean, yeah, it is like NOFX, and it is punk rock, and it is South by Southwest. And they're like, they do everything they do is DIYs. It's just kind of like, it's like, hey, all right, we're going to do this premiere. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had a tailgate? All right, somebody get on that. And like, or, like, what was he expecting that he was at the Oscars? Like, that's what I don't get that, man. My name is Ben says, did anyone hear what happened to Todd Youth when he was younger? What happened to Todd Youth when he was younger? I don't know. And that's kind of random in this video. Oh, shit. I know what happened. Fuck. Why did I say, God damn it. Do not. Oh, my God. I shouldn't have acknowledged that. That was so stupid. Right, let me just continue.
Smoothie. See what South by Southwest is all about. I went to the comedy mothership, or as I call it, the Slur Factory, Joe Rogan's comedy thing, and I saw the Epstein Walk of Shame. I got to do my little tourist things out there before settling in at the tailgate. Time for the tailgate. I walked past it one to see if they were setting up for it. Wasn't sure exactly what alleyway I was supposed to be in for this tailgate or whatever. So I'm like, there's still no one here. No one's. So this is when the.
So he showed up at 2 p.m. for this is a band that's been around for 40 years. That's played a billion. He just expected the band to just be hanging outside at this tailgate, and that he was going to hang out with the band there. I don't know. I feel like that's typically not always how it goes down. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess because there was an RSVP that was required from him. He thought it was going to be maybe a bit more
Right.
formal, maybe a bit more organized. Maybe there would be like a giveaway or whatever. And apparently, like merch wasn't even set up at that point.
Right.
It's tough for me to say because I've never been to South by Southwest. I don't really
Me either.
know
Me either.
the ins and outs of what kind of events they have, what kind of attendance it is. Was this tailgate event? Was this part of the festival, or was this happening, sort of like off grounds? So I don't really know, but yeah, I mean, obviously he's a little perturbed.
I mean, I think with South by Southwest, it's what it is it's kind of like a cluster of pop-ups, like you have official events, but then you have events that are not really a part of South by Southwest, or and it happens, that's not happening in one centralized location. There are a lot of clubs that are South by Southwest events, and then there's individual management of said event through that whoever's the proprietor of the host of the event, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. So yeah, I don't know. All right, let's keep listening. Let's see what else he says.
Flags start to go off. I'm like, I see what this is. I see what this is. They set up 4 premieres over these 2 days. I am the biggest idiot in the world because I thought the first screening of it was the biggest deal of it, right? The very first set of eyes on this would have been the thing. Maybe there was a red carpet. Maybe there was press. Maybe there were people taking pictures. That's how it would have been if I ran this fucking event. I would have made this feel like a movie premiere. This wasn't a movie premiere, folks. I've seen fucking punk shows in the bottom of basements run 100 times better than whatever the I walked up to.
All right, before he gets, this is where he gets really mad. He starts to get really pissed off here. I think this is where he starts to get really pissed off. But what he's saying about like the premiere thing, like, yeah, technically a premiere is the first showing of something. But I feel like anybody who goes to any kind of live event knows that the real time that shit pops off is going to be 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, especially for the bands. Like that's the primo time. That's when the most people show up. Like, what he went to was some sort of early matinee thing, and in my mind too, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, maybe they were just very fucking casual about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I get where he's coming from in the sense that a premiere, you assume that the first one is the first time it's being seen, so that would be the one to go to. But obviously that wasn't the case. Kind of like a soft rollout,
Yeah, a soft rollout, and he was full. He wasn't half chub. He was full tilt boogie on a soft rollout, and that's the problem. You can't go full tilt boogie on a soft rollout, right? There's probably a song from the 70s about that. Did you ever meet my friend Jeff from WCC?
It's possible.
Do you remember him, Jeff Mulrad? You don't remember him? Maybe not. I gotta imagine that you two would cross paths at one time or another. This guy kind of reminds me of Jeff a little bit, just a little. I wish you knew. I'll tell you one thing. I think he knew Tim Sanders.
Well,
so
I mean, that's a guy I'll never forget.
That's a guy we will never forget. So if that's worth anything, it's worth saying that I think he knew Tim Sanders. Telescope is here, and he says that the event takes place all over the city of Austin. So it's like it's everywhere. Downtown Austin. Cine Fireball says is someone really informing on what South by Southwest is in the chat? Dying. Is someone really informing on what? I don't know. This guy's whatever. All right, let's keep watching.
We got an informant, apparently.
I guess so.
This was not a movie premiere, not by any stretch of the imagination, not by any standard. If anyone in show business walked up to this as a screening of a premiere, they would laugh in your face. And here I am, stupid enough to think that the premiere meaning first. Oh, I'm losing my mind again. Premiere meaning, God damn it. Why did I choose to go to the first one when the big one was actually the day after that? Because I come home from Texas yesterday and I'm seeing all the stories now. Oh, there was a tailgate. Oh, Fat Mike was out there. Oh, Fat Mike is taking pictures with YouTubers. Where was this energy during the premiere with the guy?
He's so mad. He's so angry. Like, I think he's more embarrassed that like he was talking about this on his channel and then it backfired. Now he's talking about it on the internet. Like, it's like, yeah, like what happened to you sucks, dude. But at the same time, like you got to fucking fly down to South by Southwest on someone else's dime from a fucking famous band. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. I don't know.
Yeah, let's watch him melt down.
All right. All right, hold on. Shit. My stupid screen. Here we go.
That you personally fucking invited down to this fucking place. I am losing my goddamn mind. Nobody contacted me. Nobody did anything. I was fucking there and visible. People coming up to me, let me tell you. But no, this is my fault, I guess, apparently. The movie ends and I'm just still sitting there being like, all right, I'm here. What do you want me to do? Remember, you're the one that wants to meet me. I haven't been into NOFX since I was like 16, man. I put them on for nostalgia, or I put them on for jokes nowadays, you know? I'm not gonna run around like a puppy with my eyes wide being like, oh, Mike, let's tug on his fucking shirt. Oh, down here, Mike. Over here, Mike. That's not what I want to do. You know how embarrassing that would be if I was seen acting that way? That can't be. Optically,
I mean, this is pretty embarrassing. This right here is embarrassing. Like, this is what I mean by like he was sitting around waiting for NOFX to approach him after the screening, and they didn't, and he's mad about it, and he's melting down about it on the internet now. Okay.
That would be disastrous for me, okay? What I did was what any professional would do. I responded to the emails in a timely manner. I showed up when I said I was going to show up. I showed up early, and I made myself available. I spoke to my fans. I spoke to my viewers. I got to interact with the people that with my shit, and that was cool as that was literally so much cooler than whatever movie I could have possibly watched. So the movie ends, and I'm just sitting there being like, I guess I'm just chopped liver over here, I guess. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to continue this runaround? Am I supposed to be messaging people? I don't know who to message. I don't know who I'm allowed to talk to. You guys are music business.
All right, listen, I will say this. I've gotten to interview a lot of punk rockers, a lot of interesting, cool punk rockers over the years. Sometimes it happens, I've done it here on the channel, and sometimes I've done it for my Misfits project and whatever, like in just a variety of settings. And I have been in settings where it's like after a show or during a show or whatever, where you just have to wait. You just have to wait, or you have to poke and you have to push and you have to, whether I had sent an email, whether it was all worked out, whether I was on the guest list. Hey, you want me to put you on the guest list? Sure, I'm on the guest list. It does not mean doesn't mean that there's going to be personal hospitality that's going to usher me to where I have to go and seek out the band and be like, hey, can we get that interview? Oh, it's Marky Ramone. Hey, Marky, can I get 5 minutes with you while you're eating your bagel chips? You know what I mean? Like that at Chef Central in Hartsdale. It's just like you can't just rest on your laurels. And I think maybe what happened was Dan got flown down and just thought that like Fat Mike was gonna just be his like personal liaison. I don't know what the fuck he thought, but yeah, I in my experience with trying to interview musicians, whether solicited and unsolicited, like you have to make moves.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know what he was expecting really at this point. So did he leave before the actual premiere? Did he only come down for the one day and then leave? And that's why he's upset, because he missed like the more happening premiere?
Yeah, I guess what ended up happening to our guy Dan Frampton here was that he left he left before the second day because he RSVP'd. I mean, look, if I flew down on Fat Mike's dime, I'd be there for all the fucking showings. I would just hang out. I would just be there until they fucking, you know what I mean? Like the RSVP, what does the RSVP fucking matter? If you got to fucking get a fucking badge, get a fucking thing, just, but I guess he flew back. And the second day was the big premiere where all the band members were and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pretty upset about that. But I mean, also, like, if I'm down there, I'm sticking around. You know what I mean? I'm not leaving like that.
I guess.
Professionals, there's a chain of command, right? I don't know where in the chain I'm allowed to interact with. So I'm not gonna be like, hey, can I that's not me, bro. That is not me. That will never be me. I am not one of these like manager type people. I'm not like, no, bro. No. I'm a man of my word. I show up when I say I'm gonna show up, and I sit where I say I'm gonna sit. And if you're gonna fucking do nothing with that information, I'm sorry, bro. Well, that's up to you. What do you want me to do? So anyway, 6 p.m. rolls around and they're doing a Q&A. The movie is over. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna sit out front now because they need to prepare for the next screening. So I'm literally still sitting at the front of the venue for hours, being like, all right, I'm here, guys. Where y'all at, bro? What the is going on? I have no goddamn clue, but I'm here. I said I was going to be here, and I'm here. And you're all just behind that door over there, apparently. But you don't even give a shit to come shake my hand. You don't even give a shit to be. I flew from Toronto, bro. Absolutely insane. So
I mean, do you hear, like, what do you think of all this? Come on.
He seems pretty upset that he's not back there in the green room with the band.
But like to like sit and wait, like imagine getting angrier and angrier as you're sitting and waiting and expecting a band to come up to you at their movie premiere to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that, it's tough for me to really gauge this because the whole thing about it is that I don't know what Fat Mike's intention was in flying him down there. Was he
might
trying to
have.
like, did he want to meet him? Did he give him that impression that he wanted to meet him? Or was he just like, hey, let me fly you out because you are, I don't know, somewhere in our sphere in the internet. I don't really know enough about, this guy or his relationship to the band. I mean, obviously he doesn't have any relationship to the band other than
He just talks about them on the internet. I mean,
Yeah.
the same as any of us talking about people on the internet. That's why it's so cool that he was flown down. But now, I mean, he's having a meltdown.
Yeah. So like, was their communication to him, or was Fat Mike's communication to him like, hey, fly down and we can do X, Y, Z, and that didn't happen? Or was it just like,
That's
hey,
a good
fly
point.
down? I mean,
hey, he's got the receipts. Apparently, he's got to. If he doesn't put them out there, then we'll never know. We don't.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that.
Inconclusive. Let's see what else he says.
Anyway, 8:30 rolls around. The second screening is already happening. This is when I hear from another one of Mike's hapless cronies. Now, I don't want to mention his real name. I would never do that. But for the sake of conversation, let's just call him Jason. So Jason emails me. And he goes like, which screening are you going to? And when you arrive to the theater, make sure to text Shark Boy. Again, I don't want to use his real name. I'm going to call him Shark Boy for the purposes of conversation. And I'm thinking, what the is going on here? What do you mean? What screening am I going to? The first one happened at 4 that I was already at. And the second one is currently happening right now. What do you mean? What screening am I going to? Absolutely crazy. Am I losing my mind? And at this point, I thought I was starting to have a panic attack. But upon reflection, it wasn't a panic attack, folks. I was perfectly fine. I've had panic attacks before. I've had anxiety attacks before. I know the difference between the two, and I know how it makes you feel. And I was not suffering from either of those things. This was not a panic attack. This was not an anxiety attack. This was anger. This was rage. This was vitriol flowing through my veins like lava. What the do you mean? What screening are you going to? I already RSVP'd to one of your cronies. What do you mean, bro? What do you mean? So anyway, I text Shark Boy, and what Shark Boy tells me to do is he tells me to go to the front and tell them that I'm on the list, that I'm on Shark Boy's list. And get this, during the 4 p.m. screening, I didn't even mention this part yet. This part was another red flag. At 4 p.m. when I showed up, I went to the door, I told them that I was on the list, they checked the list, I wasn't on the list. I was told I was on the list. I looked like a idiot. All these people around me, and I'm like, I'm on the list. And they're like, you're not actually on the list, bud. Like, what do you mean? He invited me. He got all of his little personal cronies to get me down here. What do you mean I'm not on the list? So I actually had to name drop. I felt like such a douchebag name dropping. I was like, well, actually, Fat Mike was the one who personally invited me. And I had all the documentation printed off because I knew it wasn't going to go smooth. If anyone was like, you're not on the list, you weren't invited by Fat Mike, and we're not going to go get him for you. Well, I was like, here's all the emails. Here's all the DMs. He invited me. What the fuck is going on here? And that was kind of the situation I was in. What do you mean I'm not on the list? So anyway, I name drop Melody and I name drop Fat Mike, and they give me the wristband and away I go. Okay, that was the 4 p.m. screening. Now we're back at the 8 p.m. screening where Jason and Shark Boy are so confused as to what is going on in the actual world over here. Jesus Christ. What Shark Boy tells me to do is he tells me to go to the door and tell them that I'm on the list. I'm not going through that again. I am not doing that again. And what do you mean do that? The movie's playing. It's halfway through. It's runtime already. You want me to go to the door, tell them that I'm on the list, get another wristband because the wristband is still on me and I'm gonna have 2 wristbands all of a sudden and go into a movie that's already playing? You can't go into a movie that's already playing and start talking to Fat Mike.
I mean, I just like, I feel bad for him in the sense, like, I think he was just grossly unprepared to negotiate any of the chaos of the situation. But I feel like, I feel like it was a genuine gesture of, hey, come, for whatever reason, come to the screening and, maybe we could do an interview or something. So much so that, people are like reaching out to him and stuff to be like, what's up? And I feel like Dan just can't wrap his mind around the situation. He's like sort of tweaking out over really, I don't know, a sense of like self-awareness or something, like, too self-aware about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't really know what he wants. You know what I mean? I mean, here you are, you were on the list, or well, he wasn't on the list, right? He wasn't on the list. He was.
He had clearance, though. He had clearance.
He got in. He got the rest.
Right,
he got the
yeah.
wristband. He got in, and then so what? If it slipped through the cracks clerically that he wasn't, that he did, that he. obviously there was a mistake. He wasn't put down on the list for the 4:30. They didn't realize that he had RSVP'd for the 4:30 already, so that's why they messaged him again and said,
They
"Hey,
exactly
which one are
they
you coming to?"
contacted with him. They
Yeah.
spoke to him. They checked in with him. You know,
Yeah.
like anybody who's like aloof or flaky, like the way that he's getting angry at the Shark Boy or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, but that guy probably has like 25 fucking things to do.
Exactly.
He's got like
Yeah.
100 things, and like he doesn't really give a fuck whether you get in or not. He doesn't really give a fuck. He's just doing his diligence as a fucking, you know, whatever integral part of this machine to, you know, oh yeah, I gotta ask this guy if he's coming to the show or not. So that's what I'm doing. And he's like spazzing about, you know, the earlier showing and like, just okay, man, whatever, bummer, man. Like,
Yeah, you got into the show twice, right? You got flown down, so what's the problem?
I don't know.
Fat Mike was the one who wanted to meet me, right? And I'm not going to go in there and be like, oh, hey, Fat Mike, while your movie's playing, here I am. Shark Boy told me to come in during the runtime. None of that made any fucking sense. So I fucking left, bro. I got in the Uber and I fucking hightailed it back to my hotel. And I messaged everybody and I told them that I had a panic attack. And I lied to them because I thought it was a panic attack at the time. I was furious. I was so angry. There would have been steam coming out of my ears. I was red in the face. I couldn't believe the disrespect that I was being afforded by all these motherfuckers out here. And then anyway, I'm in the goddamn Uber on the way back.
That's the core of what this is. He feels deeply disrespected, and he's incensed. He's incensed because he feels deeply disrespected. And like I said, right or wrong, whether Fat Mike is right or wrong, like dealing with eccentric, crazy musicians, and as much as I have, that's just the way they are, man. That's just the way it is, dude. It's just like, oh yeah, come on, I'll put you on the guest list. You know, it just is the way it is. You know, like it sometimes,
Of course.
I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, it's just that, like that. So to sort of, and then to post about it on the internet, like, why? I just don't
hotel, and they're messaging me still. And Shark Boy says the following thing, and this was the thing that made me lose my mind. And this is the text that made me fucking just like know that I'm finishing this story no matter what on my channel. I don't care if I'm fucking angry as shit. I'm gonna say this. On my way back to the fucking hotel, Shark Boy goes, "Did I meet you or did you meet the band?" What do you mean? How are you asking me that? How in the fucking Jesus Christ are you asking me that? You guys couldn't run a Target. You guys couldn't run a Starbucks. I am a personal Starbucks manager, and I could run circles around you managerially. Jesus Christ, I couldn't believe that they said that. What do you mean did you meet me? It was only a couple hours ago. You think you would have fucking remembered it just a little bit, wouldn't you? Holy f***. And no, I didn't want to meet the band. The band wanted to meet me, you sons of bitches. Jesus Christ, I'm not out there being like, hey Mike, hi Mike, I'm a big fan, Mike. That wasn't the fucking tone of this whole shit. I am so fucking furious. I am fucking angry. It's like the rich people expect the poor people to grovel. No, bro. That's not how it goes, all right?
I do think the rich people expect the poor people to grovel, but I don't think that's what the situation was personally. I just don't. I think he's like fucking losing his shit for no reason.
I think for someone who doesn't care if he meets the band or not, sure seems to care if he meets the band or not.
Yeah, he definitely cares. And and for him, it's more about, it seems like the big thing was that he wanted to be approached by the band. He came all the way down there to meet this band. Probably fucking, listen, if you listen to NOFX when you were 16 and they're like a band that you grew up with, it's at some level, it's exciting no matter what. Like, why wouldn't you just take the extra fucking step and meet just be like, oh, hey, I'm that guy from the internet. I'm Dan. Hey, man. Thanks for flying me down. It's nice to meet you.
Wanted to be shown a little bit of respect. Just treat me professionally, like a human being in a professional environment. I did every fucking thing that I had to do, okay? And not only that, man, I had to do so much on my end just to get down there. I didn't have a passport. I didn't have any IDs. I had no fucking money. I had nothing going on for myself over here, okay? So I had to go out there and make all this shit happen in 2 weeks. I was in crunch time and I fucking made it. I got everything together. I went down there just to be disrespected by a bunch of fucking cokeheads. I'm not being fair. Mike is the only cokehead. Everyone else, they enable his disgusting behavior. Now, I'm not gonna get into the film right now, and I'm not gonna get into the whole vlog right now, because apparently this is just the rant video that I'm putting out. I'll put out the vlog. I'll put out the fucking whatever other content that I have. I'll tell you all about this movie one day, because let me tell you, this movie fucking sucks. It has no.
So Jeremy, I understand that you you have a man about a horse about a man to see. So I'm going to bid you adieu, sir, as we continue on. Any final thoughts on this situation before?
I mean, I think it's exactly like you said. The guy takes himself pretty damn seriously. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you do agree? So you do feel that he is taking himself very seriously?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's difficult for me to tell. But yeah, listen, like shit happens, man. Grow up,
I guess. Any case, Jerry, thanks for joining us here.
Of course. It's been my pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Everybody go follow Spicy Hands.
Follow me. Follow my
Follow
hands.
him. Follow his hands down to the record player.
Yes.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night. So let's continue on here with our little. I saw some people. I just want to stop for a minute. You guys are talking about Iggy Pop. I saw Iggy Pop, and I've seen the Stooges twice. I've seen Iggy twice. It was fucking every time I've seen Iggy Pop, it's been great. Just want to say that. What was I going to say? Why is he mad at? But like, I don't really get it. I personally don't get it. I do not get it. What's up, Eric? Eric always joins late. Yeah, I watch. There's a lot of videos I'll watch in fast mode. I typically watch at 1.5. I know Kevin 45, who used to watch the show a lot. I don't know if he still does, but he said he used to watch me at 2 double speed, which makes a lot of sense. I don't blame him for that. There's this one guy in the chat who's he's do some research. You never do. Watch the what's Tejas? I don't know what that is. Video? I don't know why you're mad at me. I'm just reacting to a video on the internet. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, look, so my point, to sum this up, I mean, it just seems like a misunderstanding to me, to be honest. Dan, I would not have like talked all this shit about Fat Mike in this kind of way. I kind of, especially after he flew you down, I understand why you're angry. I think that, like I said, you were by yourself down there. I don't know if it was your first time in America, but it was your first time in Austin, trying to negotiate the situation. And sometimes those, like, listen, being in those situations, you just got to read. You got to figure out who's the person to really speak to about a situation. Just try to sweet talk them and, just try and negotiate and get in there and, do it. So I don't know. Eric says, whatever happened, it's hilarious. This guy's taking himself so seriously because he never takes anything serious at all. I don't know, man. Got my GL and passes for Iggy, no problem. Maybe it just happens to dudes. I don't know. I don't know what you mean, man. Beg for GL. I'm here. Everyone who says that they have to beg for GL confuses me. I've never been left off. Like, oh, guest list. Duh. I've never been left off a guest list in 40 years because I started going out at 12. How was I never forgotten, lols? You're so cool, dude. I don't know, man. You're the man, though. This guy's the man. He's never been left off a guest list in 40 years, man. That's fucking awesome. This guy is 52 years old. He's never been left off a fucking guest list. Listen. Maybe they were trying to fuck with like Fat Mike. He's like Puck from Midnight Summer Stream. He's like a trickster. He's like Loki. He's a prankster. You know what I mean? He's probably fucking around a little bit. And, for a guy, apparently this guy, Dan Frampton, smokes weed. For a guy who smokes weed, he seems like really ornery. Not stoked on Frampton. He's super steamy all the time. Steamy could mean a lot of things. I do see a lot of smoke behind him. Let's just finish this video and call it a day. See what else he says here.
Handle on storytelling. It has no handle on reality. It is all over the fucking place. Sure, there's a moment in there where it gets kind of tear jerky because it's a band telling a story that lasted 40 years. There are some emotional beats there, but the holes in the storytelling, the holes in the narrative are absolutely disgusting, and they do not hold up under scrutiny. If this movie was to play for critics or stream on Netflix to a broader community other than NOFX fans, they would have so many problems with this film. It's like, well, Why were you guys having an intervention for Smelly for his heroin stuff and treated that like a really, really, really bad, serious thing way back when? But now that Mike is a cokehead all these years later, we're just all cool with it? How do you fucking not understand that? How can you not reconcile those two things? I'm losing my mind, guys. I'm losing my mind. I'm going fucking insane. Because whatever reality exists, they fucking live in their own. They absolutely do. They're inside of their own little rich person bubble. The rich person at the very top has all these people underneath them. They're just like glad-handing yes men, to steal a term from CM Punk. And they just enable them. They just let this behavior happen. Unbelievable, disgusting.
See, now he's starting to, I think he's starting to get below the belt here. Like, again, this is a guy who spent his money. Like Fat Mike, I imagine, to fly from Canada to Austin. Let's just see, out of curiosity. I don't know where Dan is in. Let's say he's in Toronto. Flights from Toronto to Austin. Let's see how much that cost. I mean, $410, $416, $416. Like that costs a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a guy who says he's broke a little bit, you know. I don't fucking know, man. That's a lot of fucking money. It's just not I mean, that right there is the win. You know what I mean? That you spoke, Dan, you spoke on the internet eloquently enough that you caught the attention of Fat Mike. He messaged you and he flew you down to South by Southwest. That's pretty fucking cool. And you could have made a video talking about that and like sort of spin it around to like, you know, I think you hurt yourself more. You hurt yourself more doing this, like what you're doing, crashing out, than you think you might hurt Fat Mike or any of the band who probably doesn't give a shit, to be honest with you. Maybe Fat Mike will leave a comment on one of your angry videos about him and be like, sorry, dude. Sorry, dude. Want to come to the next one? You know, or maybe he'll get angry about it. You know, this is incense. I'm not smoking a cigarette. Not that anybody cares. I just like having a little incense down here. It's just nice. It's nice. And then when I come down the stairs and like fire up my machine and everything, like I get the whiff of the incense from the night before. It's nice. It's quite elegant.
Stuff. I have never felt so disrespected in my entire life. I have never felt so angry before in my entire life. And believe me, I'm grateful for.
That's what I was trying to say, dude. So if Fat Mike spent $410 for you to fly down there, like that's amazing. You know, even if it's just a drop in the bucket to him, you know.
The trip. I'm grateful for the time that I got to spend in Texas, but I'm a human being, okay? And I'm a human being that treats people with respect. Anyone else out there that met me in person, they'll tell you that I'm very polite, that I'm very nice, that I'm very cordial, that I'm very stoked, okay? I make eye contact, I shake hands, I take pictures, I appreciate them, I thank them, you know? Jesus fucking Christ.
I gotta say too, if you're down there and people recognize you from YouTube and are fucking like, that's fucking cool, dude. What are you getting, like, what are you getting so fucking worked up about? Hombre, I think you might be right. He says, saw the video yesterday after the live show, and honestly, this dude sounds like a 17-year-old going to his first show out of his friend circle. That's what he sounds like. He just sounds naive. There's a little bit of naivete. There's a little bit of learning curve, and, you know, fucking, I don't know, man. I don't know. I most certainly wouldn't have flown out that quickly. I would have waited. I wouldn't have left until all 4 shows were done and just tried to just gotten into shows. And there's nothing shameful about that. It's like, especially if, you know, you haven't seen Fat Mike there, you really think Fat Mike is like, oh, you only get to go to one show. Oh, that's it. He probably doesn't give a fuck, dude. Doesn't give a fuck. Shameless self-promotion doesn't make you envious or pop. I don't know what that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Nice to have this 2-day live benders when we can. Do you mean, what is a 2-day live bender? What are you referring to? Are you just referring to the fact that, like, are you talking about on this channel that we've done 2 live shows back to back? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure. I love it when we can. I mean, that's the beauty of going live. You set it and you could just go and do your thing. Hey, Eric, thanks for checking in. Have a great meal and a good night, buddy.
And everyone that I met returned that same energy to me. There were so many cool people that I met, and none of them were multimillionaire cokeheads. I don't want to meet multimillionaire cokeheads. I have no respect for multimillionaire cokeheads.
Ouch. I mean, this again, like, sure, Mike is a multimillionaire cokehead, but like this is rude. Now you're being rude, and you're yeah, the hey, what happened to the Canadians are nice thing? That's a nice stereotype. Like, come on, like what is this? Why are you being this way? He's all wired up on Tim Hortons coffee, man. I think that's what's going down. That's the thing.
If you're watching this, I have no respect for you specifically. You, my friend, are a piece of fucking shit, and you wasted all of my fucking time. You made me hype up my fucking audience to tell them that I'm going to tell this fucking story because Fat Mike, the singer in a fucking band that I talk about on my channel, invited me down to Texas, and we're going to tell this story. It was in your fucking hands, man. You could have ended this story positively, but that's not how it goes. This was a make or break type situation, and I guess we're in break. I literally couldn't believe it when Shark Boy asked me if I met him or the band earlier. I was like,
dude, this guy Shark Boy, you have to imagine that he is probably dealing with like, you think you're the only person on the guest list, and you think he's just trying to ensure that you got to meet the band. There's some people who wouldn't even fucking approach you and ask you that. Like, why are you getting so mad, dude? Like, really?
Jesus Christ. And the thing that he said after that, if I wasn't already pissed off, when I said no, he comes back with the text, bummer. Bummer? Oh my God. Oh my God. You are so fucking lucky that we're not on like a Jesus fucking Christ, man.
I mean, but like, what is he supposed to say to you? Like, what do you want from him, in all honesty? Like, have you ever, like, if you've ever like moved in that world, even just on the outer edges of it, and what I mean by that, like, if you've ever been backstage ever, like, you would know that this is, and maybe you haven't, maybe this is your first experience, but like, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, man.
It was maddening. It was absolutely fucking maddening. What? Austin, Texas? It was a fun time. I enjoyed my stay in Austin, Texas. South by Southwest? That was pretty cool. I would have loved to have gone to more shows. Anything other than that would have been fine, I'm sure. Had I known that day 2 was going to be the big day, that was going to be like the big premiere day, that Mike actually put on fancy clothes for, that Mike actually showed up for, then you don't think that would have influenced my decision as to...
Okay, when they were asking you about the RSVP or whatever, why didn't you ask them what is the big fucking showing? That's all you had to fucking do. Like, I mean, in all honesty, it's like, it's one of those, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you ask situations? Those can be very frustrating. I've been at work in my job where I need to know something. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? And they're like, well, why didn't you ask? And I'm like, that kind of sucks, because it's like, hey, like, the best way to help somebody in their job, or if you're trying to facilitate, like, I come from the belief of like, you should always set people up for success if you can. And you do that whichever way, if that means over communicating, whatever the situation is. But in a situation like this particularly, I don't think they like that. You assume that they know what you're there for. And, you got to say, hey, which show is the band going to be at? Like, which show is the band going to be at? Straight the fuck up. Which show do you want to RSVP to? Which show is the band going to be at? Do you know? Do you have any idea which show the band is going to be at? Like, I mean, what the fuck?
What showing I would have went to? Huh? God damn it, man. Holy fucking shit. And you have to know, people, I have to reiterate this. I have to reinforce this as hard as I can. I would not ever make a video like this about somebody that personally slighted me if it wasn't already a public story. This is something that's going on. What am I supposed to do? Just leave out the ending of the story to a bunch of...
Yes, that's exactly right. You know what you could have done? You could have said, hey, I went down. Thank you, Fat Mike, for flying me down. I went down. It was a bummer. There was a what is it? Schadenfreude, whatever. There was a snafu. I didn't get to see the band. I did watch the documentary. It was interesting. I thought it was interesting. I have a lot of thoughts about it. I got to go around Austin. I met a lot of NOFX fans. Hey, people recognized me from the internet. It was so fucking cool. Like, what a great experience. I had a good time, or I had a okay time, and there was some confusion. I didn't end up, it was a little bittersweet that I didn't get to meet the band. Or, hey, Fat Mike, we didn't get a chance to meet up down at your show. Can we take a rain check? Can you come on my show and do an interview? I mean, so many ways to have handled this, And look, I don't want to invalidate your feelings, Dan, of like, I would be pissed too. I would definitely be pissed too. But fuck, like, it's just calling him a cokehead and, you know, talking all this trash about his documentary and shit. Just, it doesn't help the situation, man. It does not help the fucking situation. Does not gonna, you know, I love Dan. I so fucking agree. He should have made the initiative and went looking for Mike, not walk around thinking Mike was going to come to him. Mike is a busy guy. I'm sure he had tons of friends in town for the showing. It, like, literally, that I wish that I had just said that. That is the correct answer here. That is exactly what and how to handle it. You know, that's it.
People that are following along with the story. I have respect for my audience, and I have respect for the narrative. So I'm going to tell the story, beginning, middle, and end. And it's just such a disappointment that it ends with me so angry. You know the expression, don't meet your heroes? It does not apply to this situation.
No. Dan, all right, here's where I'm going to push back on Dan. I think Dan is looking to he's looking for sympathy from his audience instead of just look, so we all eat shit sometimes. I've eaten plenty of shit. Sometimes you just eat the shit and you just move on because this makes you look worse. I personally think, Dan, I was like, wow, this guy, I'm so jealous. He got flown down to fucking, like, this is so great. That's awesome. And like, what you're making it worse, buddy. You're making it worse. So I don't know.
Two reasons. One, Mike or anyone like him will never be a hero of mine. And two, I didn't even meet the fucking guy. Now, like I said a little bit earlier, everyone in Mike's circle, they enable him. Let me splash the cold water in your face, you stupid fucking idiot. Not all drugs fall into the same category. You guys seem so uneducated about drugs. The drugs that you personally do. Not all drugs.
So now he's talking about drugs. Like, drugs, in Dan's experience in South by Southwest, and I'm not a defender of drugs by any means, but like, you're just angry, so you're just trying to like hit him under the belt, talk about drugs and enabling and all this shit. You don't know Fat Mike. I don't know Fat Mike. I don't know what his drug problems are. This is where I feel like you're really, really stepping out of like any kind of indignation that you might have. There's videos on his channel about run up. So how's he supposed to do this? That's what I mean. So this is what I think is funny. This guy claims that he's been on, he calls them GLs. He's been on guest lists for 40 years. He's never not been on a guest list for 40 years because he's been going to shows for 12 years. This guy right here in the comments, and like, can't even like, I mean, the answer should be quite obvious. If you are such a seasoned backstage buckaroo, like, I think it's quite obvious. What Dan said is that Dan in my comments, this other Dan, this guy, Dan 22 or whatever, 322 Dan, this guy right here, this is the correct answer. This is the correct answer. So Cinefireball is the equivalent of being like, yeah, make out with chicks 100 times. You ever see that shit? You know, there's a video, Channel 5, I think it was. They did a thing on pickup artists. So like, there's this guy. And he's like, how many times you made out with a girl? He's like, oh, what, today? Oh, I can't even count. Hundreds of times. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're saying like, how's he supposed to do this? Cherry pick, but how he says, run up. So how he's supposed to do this. First of all, I don't watch a lot of Dan Frampton's videos. Occasionally I watch a video about Dan Frampton's channel or whatever. And so, but I've been following this Fat Mike stuff for sure. How's he supposed to do this? What don't you just were bragging to everybody in the comments? How you been on guest list for 40 years? What? Tell us. I want to know specifically. Cinefireball, name 10 of the guest lists that you've been on, please. Tell us about all your rock and roll friends. Tell us about all your musician friends. I want to hear more from. I want this show to shift to Cinefireball in the comments. I want him to tell us about that. Yes, literally hundreds of bands play South by Southwest. Maybe Fat Mike was at one of those. If anyone saw the NOFX Q&A, you know that Fat Mike was just doing hella coke, booze, like scumbag. Anyone watch the Q&A? I mean, I feel like it's totally inconsequential, man. Yes, Telescope agreed. Drugs weren't an issue when he bought him a plane ticket and provided with him a fucking trip, man. Vance Conway says it's a woman. Oh, all right. So my bad. So still, Cinefireball. Tell me about 10 of the guest lists that you've been on. I want to hear. I still want to hear. I still want. It doesn't change anything. This guy is a girl, but whatever. I mean, I mean, so all right, so but that's my point, though. So all right, either way, it's inconsequential whether you're a guy or a girl, and I'm sorry, Cinefireball. I didn't. Your name does not suggest whether you're a guy or a girl. I did not realize that, but you say that for the last 40 years you've been on every guest list that you could imagine. So why would you not have advice for how Dan Frampton should negotiate a situation? Like, I don't. To me, that's a little suspect. That's all I'm saying. Obviously, so he was lit. Maybe he was bummed out that Melvin wasn't there. I feel like considering these issues, it's inconsequential.
Drugs are created equal. Some are more dangerous than others. Some are more harmful than others. Some ruin more lives than others. And in Mike's film and in Mike's demeanor and the way that he goes on about everything, he just seems to classify all drugs as drugs. And it's stupid. It's quite literally moronic to live that way. You're just outing yourself as an uneducated, rich-ass person in your own little contained bubble. And they claim in the movie that Mike was sober during the early years, except for all the beer that he drank. I hate to break it to you people, but that's not how sobriety works. If you're drinking beer, if you're participating in alcohol consumption, you are not sober. Just because you're not doing heroin and cocaine doesn't mean that you're still not doing drugs. Alcohol ruins lives. Maybe you guys are just too fucking rich to understand that, but alcohol ruins.
This just suddenly turned into a diatribe about drugs and alcohol from a pothead. Like, what? I don't understand Dan Frampton here.
Families, lives, physiologies. It can be absolutely devastating to people, an alcohol addiction. And you're out here being like, oh, Mike was sober in the early days, except for all the beer that he drank.
Yeah. This is why I wanted to do a reaction to this, because I was. This comment here, really. Dan says they invited me. They wanted to meet me. Like the premiere was made just for him. Also, if you're having a show or a premiere, you are saying hi to 1 million people. That's why I think Dan's naivete, he was upset. He was pissed off that he thought that there would be more, he would get more personal. I mean, you'd be lucky to get 5 minutes with Fat Mike flies you down, takes 5 minutes to chat with you, say, are you having a good time, and take a photo with you. That's a fucking great interaction. Wow, this guy flew me down to his fucking premiere. Spent all this fucking money, you know. Oh my God.
Ridiculous, man. I'm going to get more into the movie. I'm going to do a whole movie review, maybe in the next video, maybe after the vlog. But you can tell from the tone of this video that I'm not going to have a lot of nice things to say about it. From a movie perspective, it's sloppy. From a storytelling perspective, it's flimsy. It's just a self-aggrandizing hype piece, man. It really is. It's propaganda. Mike, you're an embarrassment, buddy. You're an absolute embarrassment. You're 60 years old and you're just out there brazenly doing cocaine on film. If anybody else did this, man, if anybody else showed themselves just like doing coke all the time like this so casually, like it's just so fucking normal, do you know the amount of criticism that would come there?
He's a rock star. He's a musician. Like, do I think it's a good idea that he's doing coke? Of course not. But he's he's fucking Fat Mike. What are you, like, he doesn't live a normal life. You know what I mean? He's not, like that. It's like telling Prince that he can't have a recording studio in his Would you tell Prince that he couldn't have a recording studio in his bathroom? You know what I mean? I don't know, man. This is my biggest thing right here. Fat Mike didn't have to give him shit, right? He really didn't. So on that principle alone, even if I felt embarrassed in the way that Dan feels embarrassed, I still wouldn't have said shit on my YouTube channel. To do that, I think this is not very nice. Here, Cinefireball is giving us her resume. This is her backstage resume. Social distortion 100 times, gangrene, circle jerk. Oh, I said the bad word that YouTube hates. Sorry. Cramps. Wow, you saw the Cramps 50 times, man. That is fucking cool as shit. Iggy Pop, that's fucking amazing. How many times did you see Iggy? Neil Young, awesome. With Sonic Youth, you said CJ's already. Beck, Hank 3, Hank 4. Are they up to Hank 5 yet? Wanda Jackson, King Louie, one-man band. Oh, so you are a professional, Miss Cinefireball. Professional, truly. I'm not saying that facetiously. It's really awesome. I am jealous. I wish I've never seen the Cramps, not even once. I've seen Iggy, as I said, I've seen Iggy 4 times, 2 with the Stooges, 2 solo, but I've never seen the Cramps. I almost saw the Cramps. I didn't see the Cramps. Pretty upsetting. Very cool. Alex Chilton, very cool. 10-4 Backdoor, Quintron and the Pussycat Persuaders. I mean, Send Fireball. I am impressed. It is awesome. But like, I don't know. I just think that, is he upset with Cokie the Clown, Fat Mike persona? I don't know. I do not actually know. I don't know if it's Fat Mike or Cokie the Clown. There is some difference there, right?
Just because you're Fat Mike doesn't mean you're immune to that criticism. Oh my God, man. You make my blood boil. Nope, it's official. This is the Fat Mike hate channel now. But I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I don't want you to like burn your records. I don't want you to stop listening to them or whatever. I don't want them to stop meaning something to you if they mean something to you. This is just my experience, right? Everyone has their own personal experience, and I'm in the middle of telling a story here, so this is just the ending of my story. If you still like the band, that's totally.
Wow. Okay. So, all right, Dan. Enough of Dan. Dan, thank you for sharing your video with us. Go subscribe to Dan Frampton's channel. His channel's bigger than mine, by the way. He has a bigger YouTube channel than me. Or at least he has more subscribers, for sure. He has more subscribers. Go give him a follow if you want to see him meltdown over Fat Mike. You've seen Iggy a dozen times. That is fucking cool. All right, now you're saying you've seen the Cramps 100 times as opposed to 50. Also, again, very cool. What was your favorite lineup of the Cramps? Seeing the Cramps, I'm kind of curious. Rev Horton Heat hundreds of times. I've seen Guitar Wolf twice, and I interviewed Guitar Wolf. As a matter of fact, I interviewed Guitar Wolf at a Guitar Wolf show. And you want to know something? I showed up and they didn't speak very much English. And I had to do my fucking best to interview them. And you want to know something? I did not fucking crash out over it. Actually, I had a really good fucking time at the show. They put me on the guest list. I was on the guest list for the Guitar Wolf show. Always a fun time at Guitar Wolf. Ace rock and roll. Mike should really cut back a bit. He's going to end up like Entwistle. Drugs hit differently with age. Sure. I mean, but the point is that he suddenly turns to the drugs once this, I don't know. What are my thoughts on NOFX cover of Last Caress? I fucking love that cover of Last Caress. Absolutely. That's from the tribute, the Caroline tribute record from 1997. And it's a great fucking cover, man. And I also love that song, What's the Matter with My Parents Today? What, the Mom and Dad, I wish you ought to quit smoking so much pot and hanging with my friends. Oh, no, wait, the thing, something with my Misfits records out, softly banging your heads. It's great. That's friggin' great. With Chopper and Bill Bateman, I met Guitar Wolf, 1996, the best. See, look, Center Fireball, we have some common ground here. We may not agree on Dan Frampton, but we have some common ground. Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what it was. It was the Violent World tribute. It was great. Tom Begowitz put that together for Caroline Records in 1997. Goldfinger had a good cover of Ghouls Night Out on that. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. That's the show. We did it. We talked about Dan. Dan, thank you for lending us your video to do this reaction. And I hope that you don't take my criticisms too harsh. And yeah, I don't know. I'm in a video in Toronto. Social D at 15. There's a riot that I'm in with Gangrene. Hey, that's pretty freaking cool, man. That's pretty cool. Right. Pennywise did Astro Zombies. That's correct. My thoughts about the Manny Misfits demo songs. I've talked so much about those demos at this point before they fucking came out. I feel like I have to do a proper show on them now. I just haven't had. I've been busy. There's a lot going on. I had Legs McNeil on my channel, and I have to get that interview ready. And I had Johnny from Night of the Living Dead on the show. And I just, as I said, I had John Christ and Erie Von interview at the same time. Technically, I mean, it's not a musical reunion, but it's a reunion between those two dudes, which to me was like such a fucking feather in the cap, so I'm always truthing. That's great. Yeah, I do like the Return of the Fly on that tribute as well. All right, you guys, I gotta go. I'm gonna get out of here. And yeah, I don't know that I'll talk. I don't know unless something interesting happens with this. I don't really have anything more to say about it. I think we spoke about Dan Frampton, and it was good. And that's it. Okay. Peace, hair grease. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jeff. So I've decided to make a Patreon. What is Patreon? I don't know how to define a Patreon. Let me look it up. Patreon is a membership platform that makes it very easy for creators to get paid for the things that they're already creating. I want to do it full time. I want this to be my full-time job. In my efforts to make that happen, I've set up this platform. Is it going to work? Is it going to be successful? I don't know, but I would rather try and crash and burn than not try at all. The goal is to create enough passive revenue so that I can continue to do this full-time, uninterrupted. Why? Because I love to do this. I love creating content. I love making videos. I love shooting films. I love doing podcasts. In case you couldn't tell, I love to talk and I never shut the fuck up. So right now I've kept the Patreon incredibly simple. There's 2 tiers, and that may change in the future. The Murdergram is a simple way to extend support for all of the hours and hours of free content on the channel for nothing more than $1. 38 cents goes to Patreon. What's $1.38, eh? It's less than a cup of coffee, but it's a great way that you can show support for very little effort. When you divide that $1.38 by the hours and hours and hours of time spent listening to this endless drivel of content, the dollar cost average works out. Next up is the YouTube Casualty for $6.66. The YouTube Casualty is loaded to the gills. Enjoy the archive ad-free, as well as ad-free early access to special docu-style podcast videos, music reaction commentaries, and the like, a month before they drop on YouTube, loaded with ads, I might add. You're also going to get exclusive content and behind-the-scenes content that is not available on YouTube or anywhere else. So you get to peek behind the veil. And believe me, there's a couple of choice pieces. Most of all, more than anything, whether you join the Patreon or not, I just want to thank each and every one of you that comes to the channel, that watches all the shows, that leaves comments, that participates, that subscribes. That's really the most important thing. This is just trying to find a way to earn a living as an artist. And with that, thank you for my TED Talk. Join the Patreon, because we need you! 66 cents. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I said I wasn't going to do another video on this, but someone left a comment on the last video. There was a comment on the last video, my video, the reaction video to this guy Dan Frampton freaking out. Everybody go subscribe. Give Dan Frampton a subscription. Link is down in the description. We did a reaction video of Dan freaking out about his trip to South by Southwest to see the new NOFX documentary. He was flown down there on Fat Mike's dime, right? That reminds me, there's one more piece of the pie. I was trying to figure out the particulars. Like I said, I don't watch Dan's videos regularly. I really don't. I was trying to figure out what the particulars were, and I went back to his channel and I started looking at some of his videos, and I noticed that the way that he paid for the trip or subsidized the trip, and no judgment on him for doing it. I'm not saying this is like a bad thing or a good thing, no condemnation on my part. I just didn't realize that he had a GoFundMe to do it. That's what he did. So Fat Mike paid for his plane ticket, and then he probably used some of his own money, or he probably had to use his own resources, and then he subsidized that further by doing a GoFundMe, which, you know, I mean, listen, not a bad business model. If there are people that, or if you have an audience and there are people that will fund your endeavors, then, you know, go for it. The point being, though, is that for all intents and purposes, it sounds like this trip was, you know, somewhat, the trip was maybe money, obviously money probably came out of Dan's pocket, but the trip was subsidized heavily by this GoFundMe, which he raised $1,760 or 2,400 Canadian dollars. That's pretty good. You have people, someone kicked him $271, $135, $67, $200 from Anonymous. I mean, that's pretty freaking good. 35 donations in total. 35 donations. I mean, that's actually, wow. I mean, it's pretty impressive, I would say. Some of them are anonymous. Some of these are incredible. I mean, all of these are generous. All of these are generous for sure. But so that's how so that's what happened. Like he subsidized his trip and then he flew down there. Just kind of, I mean, it's neither here nor there. Really, it's neither here nor there. The reason why, though, that this is not the reason I found this out, I was like, this isn't worthy. There's no point in doing. I'm also going to do a video on the GoFundMe. That's not a video. There's nothing to say about it. I said everything that needed to be said about it. I'm just casually remembering it as we were, you know, as I was talking about this. But that's not why. That's not why. Wait, what did I just do? Yeah, we don't want that. Let's get rid of that real quick. That's not the reason for the video, because I felt like the story was kind of over, right? Pending one thing. There was one thing that there was one untied. What is it? There was one untied shoelace. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. There was one end that wasn't tied together. That's not it either. What's the saying? What's the fuck? There's a saying. What's the saying when you no loose ends tied together? I don't know. Hey, I sound like a stoner right now. I don't even smoke weed. So how about that? That's incense back there. Before we take a look at this piece, I just want to say that Riot Stickers is the official sponsor of the Frumess channel. If you need stickers, go to riotstickers.com. You can get 1,000 stickers for $79 when you go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. That's FRUMESS. Graham says one loose butt cheek. Yeah, so that's a pretty good deal. Shipping and handling free. 1,000 stickers, $79. You can get a sticker that says Dan Frampton went down to Austin and all he got was a free movie. I don't know. A free airplane ticket. I don't know. You can get a lot of things. You can get a lot of different designs. Sharpie, CEO Sharpie Riot will work with you to get your design to where it needs to be. 1,000 stickers, $79. Free shipping and handling. Go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. Link is down in the description. And we'll be right back to take a look at this little tidbit of nothing really, but it warranted a follow-up video. It's not all tied together until you do this. So you have to do this. So we'll be right back to look at that in 1 second.
Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. We are the
riotstickers.com/Frumess. 1,000 stickers, $79. Just remember that. So here's a little tidbit. So somebody commented on that video that I did. And I said in the end of the video, I said, hey, I'm done. I got nothing else to say about it. I really don't. What else can we talk about? There's nothing else to talk about as it goes, until somebody left a comment and said, hey, Fat Mike left comments on that video. And I was like, yes. I was like, yes. There was no way that he would. And then he did. And the comments, and again, I don't know Fat Mike. I don't think I know Fat Mike as well as Dan Frampton knows Fat Mike, but the responses seem so totally like, this is Fat Mike. This is like something that Fat Mike would say. It seems like it's very on brand. That's what I'm trying to say. It seems like it's on brand. And so this is, which one is the, okay. So Dan is crashing out in the video that we saw. And then this is one of two comments. Oh no, let's not look at that one first. Let's look at this one, actually, this one. So this is the first comment that I saw. This is so fucking rich, dude. This sticker is a better investment than paying for Dan's blog. Wow. Yes, that's all he was promised. Are you referring to the plane ticket? Here's what Fat Mike dude, aka Fat Mike of NOFX, who again, like this guy, like he's got the attention of Fat Mike. It's very impressive. It's very impressive. He's got Fat Mike's attention. Fat Mike watches his videos, flies him down to the premiere, right? As go watch the other video. I don't have to explain it all again. Go, flies him down, and Dan Frampton is not satisfied. He feels no satisfaction from his excursion, his trip, for a variety of reasons. And I didn't read when we did the reaction video. I didn't actually read any of the comments until today. Today, when, like I said, someone said, hey, he commented on the video. It's there. So I went to go look for Fat Mike on the comments of that video. And I started to read all of the comments. And it's ugly. It's definitely ugly. I do think there is a lot of embarrassing truth there in those comments. Some of it's mean and unnecessary, but some of it is, just the reality of night. Just Dan was very naive, very naive. This is what Fat Mike has to say. This is hysterical, dude. I was there all day. I did 2 Q&As. I was literally there for 9 hours. Why didn't you come say hi? I was in the audience for both screenings on Sunday. I talked to everyone. I even asked where you were. I heard you bailed and were grumpy. Sorry you had a bad time. That's how I read that. Sorry you had a bad time. That's hilarious to me. That is just so fucking funny, dude. It's so funny because it paints a completely different picture from what Dan said in his video. And that's the thing. It's a Rashomon. Everybody's got a different POV. It's like, first of all, I don't think it's quite possible that Fat Mike did fly him down, for his own perverse sense of satisfaction, wanting to watch him squirm. More than likely, Fat Mike genuinely flew this guy down, like, was probably like, probably doing drugs, walking around, doing his thing, doing his Fat Mike thing. Like, and this guy, Dan, is just sitting there with his arms crossed, waiting for Fat Mike to approach him or something. So it's like one of those things. Why didn't you say hi to me? Why didn't you come say hi? In those situations, dude, I said this, what is it, 2 nights ago? I said this, you have to, just because you were invited does not mean that you're necessarily going to get approached. You have to seek people out, dude. You have to see. Graham says it was the first time Dan left his home. He's professional, like a Starbucks manager. It really did, like the way he was talking, it felt like it was the first time he left his home. But this comment's amazing. So he says he was on the Sunday screening, and Dan said he went to the first screening, which was either a Friday or a Saturday.
right? I don't know. But he was there for both screenings on Sunday, and he just Dan didn't do his diligence. Dan didn't do his diligence. I believe that Fat Mike did talk to everyone. And I do believe that he even asked where you were. And I bet you, there was a lot, Fat Mike and the sycophants. That's why they were fucking texting you. Which screening are you at? Where did you go? And Dan is so flustered, or whatever his deal is, whatever, if it is anxiety or whatever, he's so worked up that he can't even answer the fucking sycophants or the assistants or whoever the fuck they are, the underlings, to be like, I'm over here, and then allow the underlings to respond. Great. Do you want to come and meet Fat Mike or something? I don't know, man. 322 Dan says, I think Dan went into it wanting to have a bad time. I don't know, man. I think he felt embarrassed is what I think. I think he embarrassed himself, and he felt embarrassed, and then felt like the only way to save face was to sort of, crash out on the internet. And I don't know. I do not know, but what a choice to make a video like that. I believe that Fat Mike talked to everyone. I believe this. There's nothing here. And I love that he finds it hysterical. It doesn't sound like Fat Mike is, it sounds like Fat Mike is amused by Dan being pissed off at him. That's what I kind of get from this. And then there was a second message. He left a second message. Here's the other message that Fat Mike left. And I think this was the second one. It's not the first one. He says, "Oh my goddess, Dan, you got in. I heard you left because you had a panic attack. And why didn't you stay long enough to meet me? I really wanted to meet you. Wait, you didn't realize it did drugs? And by the way, no one in my crew does drugs. It's only me. You're kind of a peculiar person anyway. Sorry we couldn't meet. I hung out with Mark from Low End University all night. Be happy and healthy." I don't know who is Mark. Does somebody fill me in for my ignorance? Who is Mark from Low End University? I guess I could Google this real quick. Mark, Low End University. Is that another YouTuber maybe? And if so, that would be, oh my God, would that be rubbing it in his face? On some level, you have to imagine that Dan Frampton was so stoked that he's meeting a guy that he's been listening to since he was 16, and it didn't go down. Oh yeah, this guy's a YouTube dude. Oh, that's rubbing salt in the wound right there. I wonder if yeah. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this guy, the bass guy, the guy who analyzes. Yeah, this is the guy who analyzes. They were talking about him in one of the Q&As. That's, yeah, okay. I know who this guy is. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Graham. Hello, Acid Drop. Thank you for explaining it. I've actually seen Low End University, and it's really good. It's very good. He's excellent. Again, I could, as much as I love and admire, musical instruments and watching people play, I love commentary on musical instruments. I could listen to commentary on stuff all night, and I feel like that guy, Mark, what he does is very good. He's very good at what he does. I love that he was hanging out with Fat Mike, and Dan Frampton was sitting there, supposedly, according to Dan Frampton's story, is sitting there in the same place, pissed off, waiting for someone to approach him. Meanwhile, here's another YouTuber hanging out with Fat Mike. I just think that's so funny, dude. I think that's so fucking funny, man. And he says, everything is genuine here. He says, Dan, you got in. I heard you left because you had a panic attack. Maybe Dan did have a panic attack. So we're sitting here laughing at him, but maybe he was in real duress. Maybe that was him saving face. I have to hold space for that. And in all seriousness, maybe that was a problem. I don't know. Maybe it was a figurative panic attack. Maybe it was a real panic attack. And why didn't you stay long enough to meet me? Maybe it was an excuse. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he got cold feet and decided to fly back early. I don't understand how you fly down to Austin and don't stay for the duration of the entire thing. You know what I mean? That's what I just don't understand, dude. I just don't. I don't fucking get that, man. I just don't understand that. Why would you leave early unless he was just that pissed off? He was that pissed off. Oh, apparently this was actually, so this right here is actually the first comment. I stand corrected. Oh my goddess, Dan, you got in. I heard you left because you, okay, never mind. So that was the first comment, what we just read, and the second comment was the second one. Yes, we're talking about the music teacher that did the decline video. Yes, that guy, I believe. He is incredibly talented. He has, that is, the ability to talk about music in those terms is phenomenal. It really is. Dan makes Finn McKinty look like Ian Mackay. Woo! Imagine if Finn was there. But Finn is friends with Fat Mike too. That's what's so funny. That's what's so fucking funny about that. 322 Dan says, Mike is very approachable. I've met him and spoke with him at length a few times. I've never met Fat Mike, but I did see him signing books at Riot Fest in 2016 when the original Misfits played. And he was just there. There was a long line of people and he was just chatting with people in line. And I remember walking by and thinking, wow, there's Fat Mike from NOFX. That's pretty cool. This is fucking hilarious, though. I mean, this really is the irony, the fucking irony, dude. Like he said, Dan alluded in his video, he said something along the lines of like, like there was a green room or something. I was outside. There was a room where there was a door. You guys were all behind that door and I was out there waiting for you. I said I would be here. It just, So that's it. That's all I got to say. I just had to follow it up with these comments because Fat Mike did respond in the situation, in this whatever this is, this silliness. And it makes it, I think it makes it worse for Dan, to be honest. I think that if I was Dan, I would delete that video. And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. He just really foolish, really, really foolish thing to do. What else is there to say? What else is there to say? We are not, are we not men? Says, are we not men? No, we are Devo. We are Devo. I'm still amazed that adult men listen to NOFX in 2026. I mean, nostalgically, sure. There's never a time where I'm like, oh man, I want to hear the latest NOFX release. But on occasion, why is that? Why would that be? Why is that a thing? Like, why? Super Robert Fix says, I was there. I got a pic with Mike and so did my girl. I also saw Dan and said hi to him. Mike was approachable. No idea what's Dan's problem. There was free beer. It was great. So there's a guy. So that's fucking funny, dude. That's funny though. That's kind of funny. I remember going to see Ghoul in San Francisco and seeing Fat Mike riding a bike. I knew I was high, but damn. Like 11 years ago. NOFX is Dead Ass, my favorite band. Are you Acid Drop? Are you from New York? Out of curiosity. You said Dead Ass. It's a very New York thing to say. I'm from New York. We say it's mad whatever out. It's mad brick out. Brick. Whatever. We also say dead ass. Dead ass. Listen, I gotta go. I was in the middle of watching Primal season 3 with my little son, and every episode he was like, Dad, one more episode. And I said, I gotta just come down and do this video real quick. And he was like, one more episode. And the show was getting so good. I love Primal, by the way. If you haven't seen Primal, you got to check it out. But I promised him that I would go back up and keep watching Primal with him. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I have to bid you adieu because there's nothing I love more than watching TV with my son. It is the best. Absolutely the best. Dan is making us Canadians look bad. I mean, he's not doing you any favors. Look, come on. That's a gross generalization. You can't blame the actions of one Canadian on all Canadians. I know a lot of great Canadians out there, okay? Canadians are fantastic. I like Canada, too. You guys got it going on in a lot of ways, man. A lot of ways. Really, really, really. Thanks for subbing, Acid. Listen to RKL. I have listened to RKL. I have indeed. I'm trying to think what else I was going to say. He has the wrong. This was good. Dan Frampton. I don't know. I don't think Dan Frampton sucks, man. Honestly, I know we've been sort of having a laugh at his expense. I don't think he's a bad guy at all. He's a fucking goober, man. He's whatever. He's just an internet guy. I'm an internet guy. It's whatever. I think he made a fool out of himself, though. And I feel like I had to talk about it. I couldn't not talk about it, but whatever. Join me next time. I have an open letter. I have something I want to say to Michael Graves publicly. I sent it to him privately. I sent him an email. Michael Graves, believe it or not, Michael Graves talks a lot of shit about me on his YouTube channel. He did. And I mean, look, I've talked a lot of shit about him too. But Michael Graves did a reaction video to my video about him. He absolutely had a fucking meltdown. And so I made him an offer and he has not responded. I'm going to make that offer one more time, but I'm going to do it publicly in an open letter on my YouTube channel. And then if he doesn't respond, I'm just going to do a reaction video, call it a day. But I have to, I gotta say something. I gotta say something back to Michael Graves. He called me a very hurtful name. He called me a slur. It was really not very nice. Very unsightly thing to do. So there's that. I'll be back. Have a good night, everybody. Peace, hair grease, and we will see. Wait, what? Hold on. Please, before you go, please promise a video about the Macho Man Doyle connection. We need it. I'll tell you, if all goes to plan, if everything goes to plan, we will hear an eyewitness account of that story. In fact, I do have an eyewitness account of that story on my channel because for Grim Tales, we did a whole thing about it. But, that would be a really good video. That would be a really, really, really good video, a Doyle Macho Man video. So maybe. If you think, hey, listen, Acid, I know you just subbed to the channel. If you think that's funny, go to Michael Graves' YouTube channel and watch the second to last video. It's literally him for 70 minutes losing his mind over one of my videos about him. Absolutely. And like I said, calling me a nasty fucking name, really nasty name. But that's a whole long story. Yeah, at some point we'll do the Manny tapes. We will. All right, guys, I really got to go. Bye. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. Who am I? I am nobody. I'm just a guy who is a big fan of the Misfits. And I also am a filmmaker. I have, in a month, a fucking huge shoot coming up. One of the biggest of my life. I was scared to do it again because the first time I made a movie, it almost didn't come together.
What's so funny? It's just your grandson feeding you baby food.
If I didn't complete this feature film, it would have been the end of the world for me.
You got the shot.
Pain is temporary, film is forever. The process on one hand feels this impossible mountain to climb. Is this my great downfall?
And you kind of gulp and you go, okay, well, time to climb the next mountain. And that's kind of like what life is. We'll take it a shooting day at a time. We're going to get magic.
It's gonna be like fucking Magic Johnson.
Leave. Get out. Ah!
The anxiety is unpleasant and uncomfortable. The fear is a very healthy one.
Growing.
This tastes like sand, fucking mud.
No, when in doubt, when you don't know what you're doing, just make everything blue.
You need this humility to be like, maybe you can't do this.
Or red.
Which leads me to go, well, I'm gonna try my goddamn best to.
Or a combination thereof. Just go Suspiria.
Wouldn't be a micro-budget independent film without a hallucination scene, right?
You also throw up some nice chunky chunks. You got no problem eating oatmeal?
Oh shit, oh man, I'm sorry.
You look like fucking Ash.
After today, what percentage would you say we're at? We don't have enough action scenes. I think we're at about half.
This is supposed to be the finale of the film.
You might be right. We might have half the movie.
There's nothing to talk about until there's a movie in the can.
This is your Frank Booth gun.
Shove, 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 punch, punch, punch.
There's a scene waiting to be revealed within the footage.
Okay.
takedown with the headlock.
Like a block of marble waiting to become a sculpture.
And then no, don't do it or whatever. And then.
And I'm spent!
I'm in uncharted territory right here.
I don't even know what we're doing.
A fork in the road. Isn't this what happened to Dante when he encountered Virgil?
Like, I kind of know. I have an idea.
I feel like a failure.
I was not expecting to be where I am at 35.
I've never been so broke in my life.
I'm feeling a lot of self-pity.
This thing could be taken from me at any moment.
And yet, for some reason, I'm happy.
You only fail if you give up.
Tonight, we dined in hell.
This journey is one of the most profound lessons of my life.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am sorry. You know why? Because I said the last time that was going to be the last one. And it's not. It's not. Here I am again. Here I am again. But at the same time, we've talked about this topic. We've talked about NOFX like 4 times now. And I was like, okay, we did it. Fat Mike responding was enough of a sort of an ending, I felt, to the story, right? Like, for sure. I was like, okay, that's the end of the story. This really not like it's really not a story. It's a nothing of a story to begin with. I don't know. Maybe it's a little amusing. But then I was scrolling on Reddit and I came across a Reddit posting. I was like, how on earth could I ignore this? And I got to tell you, I've been watching some Fat Mike interviews from the premiere down at South by Southwest. And it really is remarkable. Fat Mike was just going around giving interviews like they were fucking candy. And as I'm watching these interviews too, I'm just going like, fuck, like, man, when you interview Fat Mike, you either like you kill by the sword or you die by the sword. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right. I don't know if that's the right. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but like, Fat Mike does not suffer fools. What I gather from Fat Mike I feel like I have a better understanding of him maybe than I initially did. What I get from Fat Mike, at least in these interviews, is that he is a deeply authentic person. He is far more interested in heart than anything else. He's more interested in heart than knowledge. You know what I mean? If somebody comes across to him as he wants authentic and genuine conversations, and if they're not, he's going to eat you alive. And I just watched him I watched some interviewers just eat it bad. And what's kind of remarkable is that even though they're eating it while interviewing Fat Mike, he still manages, like, while he's like ripping them a new asshole, like while he's like just eviscerating them to an extent, he's also kind of doing it in this really endearing kind of sweet way where you're glad it's not you that it's happening to, and that you're watching the interview and you can't help but kind of laugh at the whole situation. While at the same time, I feel like even if it was me, I would just be laughing and chuckling along. It'd be like, he called me unfunny or a fucking idiot or whatever. I'd be like, yeah. That kind of thing. But yeah, it's interesting. And additionally, that he's not like, he is very much sort of in this he's very flippant in his interviews, and he is very flippantly sort of, just revealing the truth of what's been going on, despite what others may or may not want him to do within his camps and whatnot. But in any case, all of that to say that I could appreciate a guy like I have empathy and compassion for Dan Frampton a little bit. Because I imagine, after watching some of these interviews, I imagine that a guy like Dan Frampton, who I don't think does interviews, I don't know if he's done any interviews on his channel. Like I said, I do not watch regularly, only on occasion, usually when it's something Fat Mike related or whatever. And I don't watch any of that gossips. I really don't. I don't even know who he's gossiping about to enjoy the gossip. Like, I just don't know it. I don't know it. It's too new for me, or I'm too much of an old head. But I'm not even an old head because I'm not old in that I'm not old enough to have been an old head for the old head stuff either. So I'm, in this weird, whatever, that's whatever. But I could imagine how difficult it would be. It's like, I feel like Dan Frampton, after like this new information has come to light, I feel like Dan Frampton was the dog that caught the bus, right? The saying, the dog latches onto the bus and does not know what to do with it. And maybe that's what happened to him. I don't want to make fun of Dan because it seems like he really does potentially suffer from panic attacks and anxiety. So what I'm going to present this in a way where I have empathy for Dan. It must have been very, like, I imagine, I'm not in Dan's head, but it must have been very, like, sort of conflicting and, going down there and being so intimidated, but having to play this persona of being this troll and whatever the fuck he does. And I mean, Fat Mike genuinely wanted him down there. Fat Mike genuinely and authentically saw something in this guy and wanted him to come down and be a part of this gathering, and perhaps Dan just couldn't take it at face value. So I'm not going to rehash all the previous parts of the story. There's 2 other videos about this. This is the third, and truly this is the concluding video. This is the conclusion video. I think the only way that we say anything, the only way that I think we say anything more about this is if Fat Mike wants to come on here and talk about the situation. I don't think he would. And I most certainly don't think Dan Frampton would. So this will be the final time that we talk about it. Before we talk about it, let's take a quick moment to talk about our sponsor, Riot Stickers. By the way, you could subscribe. I put Dan's link. Subscribe to Dan if you wish, down in the comments. And right here is a sticker. RiotStickers.com is the official sponsor of this show, channel, whatever, the Frumess show, I guess. Can never think of anything more interesting or creative. The Frumess show. The Frumess show. You can get 1,000 stickers for $79. Free shipping and handling. The stickers are 3-inch by 3-inch vinyl stickers, which makes them kind of impervious to the weather. They have a UV coating that protects from the sun. You can get, and mind you, I also want to take back some of the bad things that I said about Dan. Like, I think I was kind of negative on him in the last video. I want to take all of that back and say sorry, because I think that this was a lot. I mean, yes, we're looking at the situation, but I don't think it's anything to make fun of Dan for, because Dan, like, clearly Dan tripped himself up in some way, shape, or form, and it probably sucks. The video that we looked at, that's private. He's taken that down for whatever reason. I will say this, and I say this very matter-of-factly, and it's like, I know that Dan Frampton has, done a lot of, like, snarking and trolling and commentating on other people's drama and stuff. And so therefore that's the reason why I'm making this video, in the sense that I feel like it's fair game. Like, not fair game. I feel like it's okay, because I think about how he had no qualms doing this to so many other people, and that it's okay to talk about a situation as long as it's done so in a respectful way. So that's the goal. That's the line to ride here, is to do this in a kind of respectful. I'm supposed to be talking about Riot Stickers, baby. RiotStickers.com/Frumess. It's FRUMESS. Link is down in the description. Free shipping and handling. RiotStickers.com. We'll be right back to talk more about Fat Mike, Dan Frampton, and Fat Mike's NOFX management.
Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb.
Okay, that RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. So as I was saying, I was like, I feel like it's okay to, I feel like it was ultimately this, you know, the receipts are available on the internet. Dan Frampton all day long is on his YouTube channel, saying all sorts of stuff about people and people's situations and drama and whatever. And we've already done 2 parts of the story. So why are we not we wouldn't conclude the situation? We have to conclude it. It's a trilogy, baby. We got to conclude the trilogy. So I think this is a fitting resolution to the whole situation, the whole thing in and of itself. But like I said, I'm not here to be, I'm going to try my best to not be rude or mean-spirited, because anxiety and panic attacks are a real thing. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, people act in certain ways when they're under pressure. You know what it is? I want to see all the sides. I'm not here to take NOFX side or Dan Frampton side or anybody's side. I'm just here to look at the situation, is what I guess. I don't know. So on Reddit, I was scrolling on Reddit and I came across this, and it was just like, you know, anytime you see a screenshot of anything, you're just like, oh, what is this? What is this situation? I got to figure this out. What is going on here? Boom. So this tiny little, this thing here, this is crazy. And it's crazy because, you know, typically this doesn't always happen, but typically in situations with some, you know, a big entity versus a little entity, and Dan Frampton he's a minnow, right? He's a little minnow in the big old ocean, and NOFX is a big old whale. And what is a big old whale concerned with a little minnow swimming in the great blue ocean, which I think is remarkable that, hey, little minnow, you want to come see our big whale of a premiere? We'll give you a tsunami wave down. Terrible metaphors. Sorry. This is a screenshot of an email from the NOFX crew official Instagram page. And this was deleted minutes after, according to, does it say at the bottom? It doesn't say at the bottom. Here, let me get out of this for a second. If at the very bottom here, it says post was deleted a few minutes later. Crew fired shots at Frampton on their IG. Okay. So they definitely, this is the other side of the story, right? We got that comment from Fat Mike, but that wasn't super revealing, and it left too much to interpret. This, however, provides a detailed account from the other side, along with receipts, and really kind of showing what happened, at least easier to sort of piece together. But like I said, part of the piece of that puzzle was realizing that Dan legitimately might have been having a panic attack and might suffer from some kind of anxiety. And that's nothing to laugh. I'm not laughing at Dan. We're just presenting it as is. Dan flew down and potentially had a real panic attack. It says, "Hey, Dan Frampton, this is Jay Reynolds, manager for NOFX. We're a little puzzled by your actions following the NOFX premiere. You seem to be very angry at us for how you were treated. You have been talking nonstop shit about Fat Mike and our crew on your podcast, which is weird because we treated you better than we treat literally anyone." Now, that's what happened. Dan came back and now you can't see it. You can't see it now. You could watch it because we captured it. So it's on, unless, you know, my video gets torpedoed. I have it. I have the video of Dan just absolutely he is eviscerating NOFX. He's talking a lot of shit. Not gonna lie. He's talking a lot of shit for a guy that had some serious hospitality thrown his way. How about that? I think that's a fair, even assessment, right? He talked a lot of shit for someone who got money thrown his way to fly down there, and apparently more than that. Let's continue. Jay continues, which is weird because we treated you better than we literally treat anyone. In fact, Fat Mike set this whole thing up because he really wanted to meet you and show you that he is not the asshole that you keep saying that he is. So I have seen on previous Dan Frampton videos where he does call Fat Mike an asshole or whatever, talks about Fat Mike's various, as Smelly said in that statement, he said, Fat Mike is a complicated guy, complex guy. And yeah, I mean that, yeah, there. Yes, there. But Fat Mike watched Dan Frampton's liked to watch Dan Frampton's videos and was like intrigued enough that like, hey, come here, let me show you that I'm not an asshole. You're clearly a fan of mine. You know my music, you talk about my music, come out. That pretty genuine, pretty incredible gesture, because Dan is just a face on the internet. Fat Mike does not have to do that, right? And Fat Mike turns to his team and he's like, hey, make sure this guy's comfortable, right? Let's continue on. In fact, Fat Mike set this whole thing up because he really wanted to meet you and show you that he is not the asshole that you keep saying that he is. He told me and Melanie, not Melody. So I guess Dan was referring to her as Melody. I don't remember, but we will refer to her as Melanie. I do remember there was somebody with an MEL name. To take care of you and let him know when you got to the and I mean, look, this is, and Dan, hey, since clearly Dan was greener than maybe he's sitting there telling you that he's a professional, but the reality is that this was a learning experience for him. And part of when you're in any sort of situation like this, you make sure that you pronounce people's names correctly. You do, or do your best to pronounce someone's name correctly. And that's coming from a guy who butchers everybody's name, but at least I'm worried about it and I make a conscious effort not to. So that's important. I think that's important. And clearly Jay and probably Fat Mike and whoever else was like, don't take it out on Melanie, right? Jay says, firstly, I would like to let everyone know that Mike personally paid for your flights and hotel. I have the receipts. So it seems odd that you added a GoFundMe page asking for money for expenses, including hotel expenses. So that there's a video on Dan's page. I don't know if maybe he made that private. He probably made all the videos private, right? If he made that one video where he says, I hate Fat Mike, then he probably made all of the videos private, right? Where he says, he's saying in the GoFundMe, hey, I need money for a hotel expense. We weren't sure what Fat Mike was subsidizing, right? But I mean, the dude got a flight and hotel round trip to see a free premiere of a band that he clearly reveres. And Jay and the rest of the team, rightfully so, I would be annoyed if it was me, found out that he had a GoFundMe. When did they find out he had a GoFundMe? I don't know. I don't know if did he tell them in advance? He was pimping the GoFundMe before the trip. So trying to raise funds, so, I watched it, funds related to just a bunch of stuff. It wasn't just hotel expenses. It was like lost wages. Does Dan really work at a Starbucks? I do not know. Mike paid for your hotel expenses. You raised $1,700 from your followers. How exactly did you spend that $1,700 in 2 nights? I think your donors might want to know. I mean, that's kind of shitty. So he got so NOFX crew official, they tagged him straight up. And I wonder if in tagging him that caused him to delete his video, or did they say, hey, if you take down your video, we'll take down this post? I don't know why they decided to delete it. Maybe they thought it was beneath them. Maybe Jay was like, fuck this. I don't need to, chew this guy out. I'm not going to. He continues on though. Secondly, there's 10 pages here. Secondly, and I mean, it was deleted almost instantly. So somebody screenshotted this and uploaded to Reddit. It's true, man. To an extent, the internet really is kind of forever. Not always, but it can be forever. Secondly, Mike was at the venue for 9 hours on the day you were there. So we have confirmation from management, and I don't think they would fucking lie, right? So Mike was there for 9 hours. He hung out at the tailgate party, the one that Dan said he was at and that Fat Mike was not at. Did multiple interviews, and I just watched 2 of them. I watched one of them outside somewhere. I wonder if that was one of the tailgate interviews. So it's very possible that Dan suffered from crippling anxiety, could not perform, and made this video in response. And I'm sure, listen, I've seen a lot of comments like annoyed with Dan Frampton. I'm not mad at Dan Frampton. I'm kind of frustrated for him. I guess I'm sad. I have to imagine that nobody is more upset about this than Dan Frampton himself. I'm sure Dan Frampton is pissed, and not necessarily pissed at the band that he is whatchamacallit, that he is blaming. He's pissed at himself, man. He's pissed at himself. He fumbled. He was thrown the fucking quarterback. What is it? He was thrown the touchdown pass and he fumbled it. He fucking fumbled it, dude. And listen, I'll say this. I have been in that situation where I have fumbled the ball, and it does not fucking feel good, dude. It feels terrible. I'm going to highlight Teddy's comment because he tipped us, which is a very nice thing to do. He says, did I make a live stream? I don't know what that means, unless that you were the person that screenshotted this and then posted it to Reddit, and I found it, and now I'm making a live stream about it. So yes, Teddy, I would say, or Ted, sorry, I called you Teddy. Ted, it's 2 D's, so I figured there's a Y there. There wasn't a Y. So Ted, yes, this live stream is happening because you screenshotted this. Yes, correct. So thank you for the support. Very nice. And thank you for the material to even do this video. So, I mean, look, I'm sure, and especially after reading this, I'm sure probably Dan is even more pissed off at himself. I went to go see if Dan had made any other videos about NOFX. None, but he is like churning out videos about everything else but NOFX. When, I don't know. So he did 2 Q&As and introduced the film twice. So Fat Mike was all over there. So Dan, it's quite possible maybe that Dan was even in the room and just simply didn't go up to, who knows? All I know is that I will admit, I do not think that Dan is a reliable narrator here. I think that what Jay is writing is a more accurate representation of the events that went down, and he's got the photographic evidence to back up what he is saying. So in the court of public opinion, again, I think it clearly comes out in Fat Mike and NOFX favor, and management, the hospitality. I mean, they showed this guy some serious hospitality. And yeah, he says, Jay continues, Why didn't you introduce yourself to Melanie or me or Sharky? I think he was calling him Shark Boy. Sharky, his name's Sharky, or literally anyone at the venue. The whole point of Mike flying you down was to hang out with you. I understand that you may have been nervous to meet Fat Mike, but dude, he flew you down there for that specific reason. It wasn't like it was a show. There were only 100 people there, and Mike was talking to everyone. So this is an incredibly personal event, right? This is a very, very personal event. And it's very, look, 100 people is like nothing. It's like a press junket, really. That's what they created their own like organic press junket full of YouTubers to do interviews. I mean, that's kind of fucking awesome, you know, because they could have probably had anybody there and they chose to do it like that, you know, which kind of reflects what Smelly was saying about, hey, we're a family and blah, blah, blah. Ted has supported us further. So I'm going to highlight Ted's comment again. Very nice of you, Ted. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. He says, continue. He says, no, that was not my screenshot. I had just been trying to support you live and finally timed it. I'm an DC punker. The Dan thing is a coincidence. Oh, I am sorry. I just assumed the way that I read that previously, I misunderstood. Either which way, I tip my hat to you, sir, for your tip. That's very kind of you. And thanks. Welcome to the chat. Listen, if you're always wondering, I go live at such random times. I go when I go. It might say 11:45 p.m. It does not mean I'm going to go live 11:45 p.m. If you turn on, you know, do the thing like the video, subscribe to my channel. If you do some of those things, if you turn on notifications, it'll let you know when I'm going live. And so when we have like something like this, we can go live. And you can jump into the live chat because we chat in the live chat. I'll go back to the comments when I'm finished reading this. But I'm going to be, I noticed there's some mean again, I'm trying to be gentle towards Dan here. Why? Even though Dan is kind of a jerk. He is kind of a jerk. It's because again, I think that like the anxiety, panic attack stuff, I want to be sensitive to it. I'm trying my best to be sensitive to it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's not working. Maybe this just, it's inconsequential and I end up looking like an asshole anyway, whatever. He says there's only 100 people there and Mike was talking to everyone. 100 people, it's like a party, man. It's like a party. And you could have just literally asked, or you could have asked literally anyone to meet Mike. So look, let's play devil's advocate. Let's put let's say that the anxiety and the panic attack is an excuse and it's not actually true for 1 second. Dan or anybody else, let's say if I was in Dan's situation, and I've been in a couple backstages, and I've been in a couple of like sort of event type places, not as like official press, but like just being able to eyeball, okay, who's the support, and B, where the, you know, whoever might be hanging out. Oh, they're back there. Oh, they're over there. And going to someone and being like, hey, can you give me an introduction? I'd really like to, or I know that he's talking to everybody right now. Fat Mike. I know Fat Mike is doing interviews and talking to everybody. I just wanted to check in with you. Is there like a slot or a time, or would there be a good time to sort of, you know, jump in there, or to just be fucking, you know, just be brash about it and walk up and be like, hey man, wait for a pocket. That's the other thing too. You could wait for a pocket. That's awkward. That could be awkward. When you're waiting for a pocket, you're not in the conversation. You approach a conversation, you're waiting quietly. You don't want to jump into the conversation because then you're just kind of like pushing yourself into a conversation that you're not really in for a reason that doesn't concern the people that are having the conversation. That's kind of rude, right? But at the same time, you want to say something, you're waiting for a pocket, you're sitting there waiting awkwardly. The person that you want to speak to knows that you're fucking want to speak to them. They can see that you know who they are, and it's awkward because they're still having that conversation. They know that you're there and they're not going to stop, you know. I'm really trying, Dan. I am trying so hard. I'm trying hard to not to be gentle. It's incredibly difficult. This is difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult. I mean, this is ridiculous. You could have just asked literally anyone to meet Mike. Maybe you just wanted this trip to be about content and not about making a real connection with someone? Question mark. I don't. Jay, NOFX management, who will never watch this, but hey, you want to know something? I think that he legitimately in his mind was like, this is really cool. I'm going to get some great videos out of this. I'm going to interview Fat Mike. I'm going to come down. Came down, like I said, dog catching the bus, right? Didn't, once he was down there, did not know what the fuck he was doing, didn't know what to do, and basically got inside of his own head. He was so preconceived with looking cool and probably deathly afraid of Fat Mike's, because look, Fat Mike, again, after watching some interviews, Fat Mike has a sharp wit, dude. He does. He does in interviews. The guy's probably done a million interviews. Anybody who's done a million interviews, like there, if you're not like, another great one is Jack Grisham is like this too. There's a few of them. If you, Bill Burr, before Bill Burr imploded, Bill Burr, like if they just don't suffer, they're not going to suffer your stupid questions. Doyle from the Misfits, not going to suffer your stupid questions. And Doyle probably has the shortest fuse out of everybody. Not that he's going to like explode at you, but just that like he just is going to shut down and just be like whatever. It puts up a wall completely. But Mike is I would be very, I personally would feel very intimidated, and I can talk, I can gab. I'd be so afraid of Mike's he's acerbic. He has an acerbic wit. He's smelling for blood. And the best part about Mike's interviews, and I'm sure maybe Dan watched a ton of these interviews before he went down there to prepare himself and probably got in his own head and made it even worse, is that when Fat Mike smells blood, when he smells blood, dude, like he'll go for it. He will go for it. And the interviewer doesn't even know what Fat Mike is doing. Fat Mike is just completely making fun of the interviewer, amusing himself in the process, and amusing anybody who's watching the interview who can understand what's going on. Yes, Jack, listen, Jack Grisham is the nicest guy you will ever meet. I agree. I've met Jack many times. I know Jack. I met him many times, but Jack is also a guy who does not take bullshit. Jack will not suffer bullshit, man. He just won't. Actually, there's a great interview with Fat Mike and Jack Grisham, and it's a great fucking, the two guys going back and forth. They're great. Really great. Fat Mike actually is pretty good at interviewing. I liked his, I don't think he does the podcast anymore. It was a pretty fun podcast. I like that podcast. So Dan is walking into what potentially could be a viper pit, right? Like just really a bad situation. And maybe that's what intimidated him. So I think he legitimately wanted the trip to be about having a good time and getting some good videos out of it. I don't think it was just about purely making content or purely shitting on NOFX. But at the same time, it's kind of like what he ended up doing. You know, he went down there. Well, you'll see. I don't want to speak before. I'll let the receipts. I'll let the receipts speak for themselves. How about that? Third, this is Jay says the third thing. The real bummer was that you talk so much shit about Melanie. Sharky and I can take shit talk, but you made Melanie really sad. From what Jay says, it sounds like, and we only know Melanie from what Dan had said, I guess, but like, it sounds like Melanie's just a really nice person. One of those really nice, people on the team, whatever she does in any, whatever kind of support she does. And it's, Jay is like, hey man, like you're going to talk shit about, Fat Mike is an easy person to talk shit about, right? But like, don't talk about Melanie. So that to me, I don't know Melanie, but it sounds like Melanie must be a really great person. and that he can't stand to see that happen. So I can appreciate that. I can also appreciate that. I don't. Oh shit! What am I doing here? Let me get back to. Hold on. Do I have to shrink this down? There we go. Let's go to the next page. All right. Here's the final page, but then we have receipts. That we have the receipt. The receipts are the most damning thing. The receipts are probably the hardest thing to really look at. I think, because they really show. They show the truth. They back up everything that Jay is saying right now in the whatever in his email. Melanie, so Dan, who referred to himself as just a sterling professional in his video, Melanie is a professional who did everything she could to help you. You can see the screenshots of the convos with Melanie and Sharky if you're keen. And this is where you really get a sense of what kind of person Melanie is, because I got to tell you something. Melanie is probably dealing with how many other fucking people, and that she even takes the time to text with Dan like this. I mean, it just sounds like it. Dan seems like a socially awkward, anxiety-driven, socially inept person who just is on the internet all the time. Like, you also, what's interesting is in looking at the text messages, you see beneath the veneer of Dan, you see that what he does on here is a character. Like the Dan that I was reading in the text that we're going to look at in a second is what I think the real Dan, and it's also the fearful Dan. Dan is very afraid. You can see it in the text messages. In any case, Melanie is a professional who did everything she could to help you. You can see the screenshots of the convos with Melanie and Sharky if you're keen. In conclusion, Dan, we feel like you took advantage of not only Mike's good faith, but your followers, NOFX, Fat Mike, and Melanie would appreciate a public apology. And I bet your followers wouldn't mind knowing where their $1,700 went. Glad you enjoyed the movie. I have to say, Dan, I think you should apologize. You should make a public apology for sure. 100%. Taking the video down was, I guess, good. Or maybe you shouldn't have taken the video down. Maybe you need to leave the video up and amend it with an apology or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I do think you, Dan, I do think you owe an apology. I think you should apologize to Fat Mike. I think you should apologize to Melanie and Sharky and to Jay. That's what you should do. And I guess your followers, right? For the $1,700, you know? So yeah, I mean, yeah, I have to concur with that. Not that anybody's asking me for my concurrence, but I mean, this is pretty damning shit, man. This is pretty damning shit. Okay. Now this is actually makes me uncomfortable. Like reading these made me very uncomfortable. And again, when I was reading these, this is when I was like, should I even do this video? Because Dan is clearly not, this is not an act. Dan has anxiety and panic attacks, right? But maybe like that doesn't excuse him from being an asshole, and therefore it's okay for me to make this video, right? Because he makes all those videos where he's doing this all the time. So now he's the center of it, and is he not fair game? And so I was like, okay, well, I think, listen, tell me if I'm wrong. I think I have been pretty even keel towards Dan. Very matter of fact, but even keel with Dan up to this point. Parasocially, because I never met Dan Frampton. I never talked to him in my life at all. Here's the okay. So here are the screenshots. Here. Oh, somebody brings up. I wonder if he's ever traveled before. I don't think that he has. That like he is. I think Dan is a very socially awkward, anxiety laden guy who is kind of a shut in and antisocial and just talks to people through YouTube, I guess. Here's what the screenshot says. So this is Dan, and this is Melanie with Dan. Are you here? I'm upstairs. And Dan responds, not anymore. I was there all day. I had to come back to the hotel because all of this is so new to me. I had no idea what to do or where to go and had a massive panic attack. And I have to tell you, no, first of all, this is not professional. This is not professional, especially when people paid you money to come down and basically hang out, but also to, I mean, in a journalistic kind of way, Dan is down there, right? On some level. I mean, this is pretty fucked up. This is fucked up. He says, I had no idea what to do or where to go, which I don't think is an excuse either. Then even if you have anxiety, if you're going to do it, if you're able to get out the door, if you're able to get on a plane and get down there, then, you can't ask someone, hey, like, what do I do? Or send an email saying, how does this usually work? So telling the person that you have a working relationship with, or whatever you want to call this, or who's the hospitality support, that you had a massive panic attack is, I don't know. Let's keep looking on. Here is Melanie continues. You could have texted me earlier. I just stepped out for dinner, but I was here since 1 p.m. Are you okay? So Melanie asks, are you okay? She cares. Melanie cares. Are you okay, Dan? Right? Like, are you okay? Dan says, I'll be okay. It's all good. And mind you, Melanie, who, again, I don't know what Melanie does within the NOFX camp, but Melanie's busy. Melanie is working, and Melanie is probably dealing with 1,000 spinning plates, but she's taking her time to ask Dan if he's okay. Because if someone says I have a massive panic attack and you're dealing with like 5 other fucking YouTubers, I'd be like, okay, great. Okay. And you're back at the hotel already? What the fuck? Like, really? Okay, bye. I got other fucking shit to do. But Melanie, like, clearly cares. And Dan, I don't want to say he takes advantage of that, but he clearly leans into it. He's leaning into the thing, right? He says, I'll be okay. It's all good. I didn't know what to do earlier. I'm not used to people in show business, and I had no idea who I was allowed to. And then I can't see the rest of that. But what a thing. I'm not used to people in show business, but going on your YouTube channel and talking about how professional you were. I mean, there is accountability too, right? In this way, here's the thing. I'm not going to I wouldn't necessarily come down on Dan for having anxiety and having panic attacks. I'll never do that to anybody who suffers or deals with those challenges, right? That's a real thing. But at the same time, there is also accountability, especially accountability where money was spent on you to come do this thing, right? To say sorry would not be unreasonable. Wouldn't be unreasonable. I'll be okay. It's all good. I didn't know what to do earlier. I mean, this is some shit. This is some shit. Melanie continues. Good to hear you're feeling better. Again, she doesn't she's being very personable. Maybe is she really glad to know that he's feeling better? Who knows? Again, crazy busy weekend, and she has to spend, because what Melanie has to do right now, she's spending emotional energy dealing with this guy from Canada, this YouTuber from Canada, you know what I mean? Which is just nice. Again, she's a representative of NOFX, so whatever she says to these guys or these people, vendor, press, journalists, whatever, digital, YouTube, blah, 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 like, she is a representative, and so she has to be professional too, but she's also being personable. Part of being professional is being personable. I work in my day job. What I do, I am constantly working with people. I work on 3 different sites, and I oversee 4 different organizations, okay? Doing something very specific, AV related. And I'm constantly dealing with people at all times. And part of being professional is being personable. Part of doing my job is doing it with, no matter what I'm feeling inside, leaving all the bullshit behind and making sure that the people that I'm interacting with are, like, you know, good and comfortable with my demeanor, because I know that I'm representing my department. Melanie knows that she's representing her department, NOFX. So she says, glad to hear you're feeling better. Feel free to text me tomorrow. And if you want, and if what screening you want to come to, assuming you plan on coming to one, laugh emoji, you know, trying to be lighthearted, like trying to keep it like, what's it called? What's that word? Fuck. Keep it not light. Keep it, oh my God. Tip of the tongue. What's the word, people? What's the word? When you levity, keeping things, adding some levity to the situation, right? So even after Dan shits the bed here. This is shitting the bed, right? You've been given this hospitality, you throw it back. Still, Melanie is trying to make it work. Feel free to text me tomorrow. And if what screening you want to come to, right? Assuming that you plan to come to one. And Dan says, I was at the 4 p.m. showing today. And Melanie responds, me too. Oh my God. And she says, did you enjoy it? And Dan says, loved it, cried like a baby. And she says, okay, have a good night. And he says, you too. And she says, hope to see you tomorrow. So she makes this is a legitimate fucking, you know, chance. Wow. Ted is very generous tonight with his tipping. So I'm going to highlight Ted's comment again. Thank you, Ted. I really appreciate it. He says, I know we're all trying to give Dan sympathy. However, he's coming off more and more as an antisocial sociopath who's taking advantage of his fans. As soon as his lies are finally being questioned, it all falls apart. Ted, you're right. Ted, you're fucking right, man. I mean, I'm trying to be I am trying so fucking hard. Dan is a fucking asshole, dude. He's a fucking asshole. This is fucking bullshit, man. This is fucking bullshit. Social anxiety, yes. Panic attacks, yes. I mean, come on, man. Come the fuck on. Like, you know, like, it just fucking gifted a fucking expense paid trip for talking on the internet. Dan was so good at talking on the internet that Fat Mike fucking flew him down there, paid for his fucking hotel. He had his people fucking looking out for him. Take care of this guy. I want to meet him. And Dan just fucking shit the bed. This was shit. She shit the fucking bed, man. It's true. It's true. The more, as you keep reading it, you keep trying. Well, panic attacks and social. Yeah. But I mean, come on. Come the fuck on. I'm sorry. I tried. Oh my God. These comments, they loop around. Okay. It's ridiculous. I mean, he could say, cried like a baby. Did he really cry like a baby? Is he being sarcastic right now? Maybe. I don't know. Again, like, there's a part of me that's like, is Melanie is good at doing her job, and she's doing the labor of dealing with this guy. And it's like the fact that she has to entertain this, that she's even entertaining this because she needs to entertain so many other things at the same time. It's silly. It's silly. Well, no, it won't do it. All right. So she says, hope to see you tomorrow. She's still trying to make this fucking work. She's still trying to make this work. So this is a different one. I think this is Sharky. And so here's the other thing, and I'm realizing this right now as I'm saying, oh, Dan, anxiety, panic attack, blah, blah, blah. Here is Dan having some agency. This is what you do, Dan. Dan, what you did here was the right thing to do. You go, hey, man, my name's Dan. Jay told me to text you when I got to the venue. I'm out front. That's all you had to fucking do. That's all you had to do with Melanie. Hey, hey, Melanie, is there a good time to chat with Fat Mike? Or, hey, can you give me a soft intro into Fat Mike or whatever? Or, hey, Sharky, can you, whatever. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's really not that fucking, you clearly know what you're fucking doing here, man. Sharky says, tell the people at the door you're on Jay's list and Sharky, they'll give you so maybe this is someone else. I don't know who this is. Is Sharky going to give the wristband, or is this Sharky just talking in third person? I don't know. That they'll give you a wristband. The entrance is on the side. Dan responds, I was in earlier for the 4 p.m. showing. I had no idea what to do next. And to be honest, I'm in full panic attack mode now. So I'm going back to my hotel. And the response was, they didn't let you in, ! Like shocked that they didn't let him in with the juice. Like, cause you know what the juice is? Do you have the juice to get backstage? Do you have the juice to get into the show? That's what having the juice, right? Dan had the fucking juice. He didn't know how to use it. He didn't know that the juice was loose. He didn't know how to drink the fucking juice. He didn't know how to make the juice work for him. Like, where was Dan the whole time? Like, if Fat Mike was walking around, if Melanie is there, if Sharky's there, is Dan just like is in full on like panic attack anxiety mode and like can't talk to anybody? Or is he using that as an excuse because he's mad? Is that like a defense mechanism? Oh, I'm having a panic attack and then that diffuses everybody. Is that the way, like, as a means of like, when people get really drunk and then they just do really shitty things and then they blame it on being drunk and they say, oh, I'm so sorry, so drunk last night. And it's like a way of excusing bad behavior. I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. He says, I was here earlier for the 4, but he said something in his video. I don't recall. We'd have to go back and watch it. I'm not going to do that. He said something in the video about, what the fuck did he say? He said he didn't want to get a second wristband and there was no way he was going to go through the humiliating process of having to text someone again or something. So part of me was like, oh, Dan just really takes himself really too fucking seriously. That was my reaction in the first video. But now we can clearly see that Dan is just inept and maybe he does suffer from panic attacks, but that's his go-to for everything, right? Is that what he does? Yeah, he says his panic attack was actually anger. Exactly. This really is some shit. Next slide. All right, ready? He says, I tried calling you, but it's going to voicemail. So if he tried to call him and it's going to voicemail, but he's in an Uber, if he's responding via text, that means that, is it possible? I can't say for certain. Does that mean that Dan declined the call? So Sharky, after hearing all this, calls the fucking guy. Calls the guy. There's 100 other people there. Calls this one fucking guy. He says, oh shit, I'm in my Uber now. I'm sorry. Which is, He says, did you tell them that you're on our list? And he responds, I was in earlier. I was supposed to be on Melanie's list. They let me in. I couldn't face them a second time and had a panic attack. So he's saying it's a panic attack thing. Like, that's what, I'm not saying that he could legitimately have had a panic attack. Maybe he did. Maybe that does explain all of the behavior, but it's fucking nuts, dude. It's nuts. It's like the hottest girl at school coming up to you and being like, hey, I want to take you behind the lockers and, and just blowing your fucking load before you can even take a step. That's what it is. That's the best analogy. That's the best analogy for all of this. Even this guy, even Sharky is also asking if he's okay. So every time Dan invokes the panic attack, which again might be legitimate, might be real, but every time he invokes the panic attack, whether it's with Melanie or Sharky or whoever, they ask him, I hope you're okay. Fat Mike in the comments says, I heard you had a panic attack. I hope you're okay. Or be well, be healthy, Dan. Right? Like all that stuff. And still, he shat all over them in his video. So I hope you're okay. Would you like to come tomorrow? You were on her list. They said they told me I wasn't on the list, but the moment and then we can't see the rest of it. Doesn't say how. 38 people liked this before, I guess it was deleted, right? They all expressed concern as well as offering medical treatment. I mean, they're expressing concern, man. It's just fuck, man. Dan, what the fuck, Dan? He says, oh, okay. He says, I couldn't face them a second time and I had a panic attack. So Dan is straight up blaming having a panic attack for the reason why he couldn't face them the second time and make this all work. And Sharky says, I hope you're okay. Would you like to come tomorrow? You were on her list. They said, they told me I wasn't on the list, but the moment I mentioned Melanie's name, they let me in. I fly out at 1 p.m. tomorrow, unfortunately. This fucking guy. Apologies for the confusion. Sharky apologizes. He apologizes, dude. He apologizes. He says, did we meet? Did you get to meet the band? So, Dan gets angry at Sharky in his video saying, did we meet? Did you get to meet the band? And we know how Dan really felt in his video, the way that he lashed out in the video when he was crashing out. But when we actually read the fucking text exchange, which is right here, they have the fucking receipts. He says, apologies for the confusion. Dan, you never mentioned that. Sharky apologized for the confusion. I met no one, unfortunately. It's all good, man. It's all good, man. They told me I wasn't on the list, but I fly out at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Just wow. Wow. As I said before, if you're going, and especially if somebody's paying for the hotel, and you were able to raise $1,700 from a GoFundMe from your fans, right? Like, why on earth? What Ted says? Why are we talking about this? I'll tell you why. I'm talking about this because this is egregious. This is egregious, man. This is the full thing, man. This is the full situation. But this gives us all of the answers that we were trying to figure out. We weren't going to get them from Dan, and most certainly we weren't going to get them from NOFX. But now we have them. So I had to complete it. We had to finish it. I had to finish off the thing. And I think that's it. I think that's that's the end of the screenshots. I met no one, unfortunately. It's all good, man. I mean, this is, you know what this is? There's a term for this. It's called snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Dan had the jaws of victory opened for Dan, right? The jaws of victory opened for Dan. and he snatched defeat out of them instead of being glorious and being like, I talked so much about NOFX and Fat Mike on the internet that they flew me down there and put me up in a hotel to watch their fucking premiere and meet them and interview them. That's how fucking rad I am. That's how rad I am. Some other interesting notes from that interview, and then I'll go to some comments, and then we're going to wrap this up. Okay? Because we're already at the hour. Some other interesting things from the interviews that Fat Mike had done. Fat Mike was talking about the Melvin situation. So some other interesting details that I learned from that. One, Melvin was down there. They had band meetings with Melvin. Mike confronted Melvin. They got in each other's faces about the whole situation. There are some details where Mike is sort of wishy-washy on it. Jumps from saying it like one way to saying like another way. I couldn't really exactly make heads or tails of what exactly happened with legal documents with Melvin or when it happened. He was talking about there was a 2-year period before they received a letter, this, that, and the other. He talked a lot about Melvin was not allowed to be on the same tour bus as him, that they shared a tour bus always, and that he was not allowed. And I think what he was trying to do, he was trying to insinuate that the wife, that Melvin's wife was forbidding him from going on the field trip, for going on the bus with Fat Mike. And I'll say this, look, I'll say one thing. If you have to control your partner in that way, if you have to get in between, I mean, that's like a really fucked up situation. That's a fucked up situation on so many levels. It's fucked up because, you have a relationship with this guy who's not only in your band, but it's like a brother, right? And your best friend. And then also this is like you on the other side, you have your wife and the love of your life forbidding you to have certain people in their life and like, to me, that's like, I mean, that's such a fucking red flag, dude. If your significant other is saying like, you're not allowed to have this person in your life anymore for whatever reason, that, I don't know, that's crazy. So he talked a lot about that. And then he also mentioned numbers. So for the last 10 years, he claimed for the last 10 years, NOFX has made, I guess Mike was trying to be tricky. He was trying to say, it's like he wants to get the truth out there. He wants to tell the truth, but he's doing it in a very wishy-washy kind of way so that it might be slippery in a courtroom setting should it ever come to that. So it can't be incriminating. But he did mention that for the last 10 years, they made anywhere between a ballpark of $180,000 to over $200,000 per person off of each tour. And that between guarantees, and they were getting a piece of the bar and a piece of the parking, at least for the last tour, I guess they did that. And then the number 2.8 million was mentioned. The gross, that's the gross amount, I guess, that they made for the entire tour. I don't think it was per person. If it was per person, that's kind of insane. I mean, that's a lot of revenue for NOFX on tour. My God, I mean, it's over $10 million. And that would just be per band member, right? Because it's supposed to be the final tour where that sets them up for everything. Fat Mike talked about how he was the 50% owner of the Punkin Drublic Festival, and that he wanted instead, again, I wasn't understanding all the percentages, but he basically switched it in a way, or he had offered a piece to all of his bandmates who did not want in on the action because it was too much of a risk. They rather stick with the guarantee. A guarantee means a guaranteed amount of money that you're going to make per show with no risk. And Fat Mike was willing to take that risk. And there was resentment over Fat Mike having money on the during COVID times when they weren't touring and everybody else was kind of like hard up for money. And there was resentment over that potentially. And then he was, sorry, I'm trying to pull all this out of my head that I'm trying to remember every detail that they mentioned in the interview. And again, like, go and listen to him talk in the interviews, because I don't have all the facts entirely straight. Okay. Just want to make sure that I'm saying that. I just sort of paraphrasing what was said off the top of my head via Fat Mike. This is what Fat Mike is telling the interviewers. But I just was finding it interesting. I guess Fat Mike trying to flippantly being transparent to a couple of no-name YouTuber guys who were talking to him at the premiere. And then something about how he wanted to only he got himself out of the festival, or he made it so that the only money he was pulling in was as 20% of NOFX. He got 20%. So I guess 20 for each of the band members. And then I guess 20% goes to management, right? So that's a 5-way split. And something about 60% of whatever the entire, maybe it was the gross or the net, goes to NOFX in the first place. And then of that 60%, they're each taking 20%. I think, if I was understanding that correctly, something like that. And Mike did that as a way to prove to the other guys of like, hey, we're all earning, we're all equal, we're all earning. And then obviously the stuff about not wanting to tour. He didn't want to tour anymore for years and years and years and years. For over a decade, he didn't want to tour anymore, going all the way back. And that drugs were a way to cope with having to do those tours, which put a wedge. And then the most interesting thing of all, now a while back, it was like a 3-hour video. In fact, it was the first NOFX video that I did on this channel, I think. And it was the Spin interview that they put out right around the time that the band broke up or called it quits. And it was a very in-depth interview, and it was revealing, and it was ugly, and it really kind of showed you why the band was putting an end to it, because the band had just said, hey, we're stopping, and there wasn't really a reason, at least a reason that was so public and forward facing. Right. And then Mike revealed, and this was crazy to me, that, and it didn't understand why in the interview, the Spin interview, which I remember, that Fat Mike was only talking about the records. He was talking about how the records were recorded, right? He was talking about things that he wanted to try, why he was recording the records, like all that sort of stuff, right? And the other guys were indeed talking about the dysfunction with Mike and the dysfunction within the band and all this stuff. And I guess, according to Mike, that it was manipulative. The interviewer at Spin sort of did like a bait and switch or something along those lines. It was there was deception in how, allegedly there was deception in how the interview was sourced and conducted. And when Fat Mike read the interview, because he didn't initially, but when he read the interview, he was shocked to see all the things that his bandmates had been saying about him, right? And was like, at least, so, I mean, again, and it's obviously all of this is Fat Mike's perspective, and I'm sure those other guys have their own perspective. But yeah, it was interesting that Melvin, and he also said that Melvin has him blocked on Instagram. And that Fat Mike did not hear or read Melvin's statement initially, whatever was put on, and that created more agita. But that oh shit, this is not working. Incense. Why do I light incense? I don't know. I just like it. I like it. Oh, this is a good one. Wow, that smells delicious. This is positive vibes, man. Positive vibe. No, I like lighting incense. Good for the energy, man. Yeah, but the Spin article was very manipulative. Fat Mike claims that he was called separately, which it does, and I got to tell you, it does explain why it felt so disjointed. Fat Mike is only talking about recording of music while the band members are talking about Fat Mike, doing drugs and the dysfunction and the fraying of the edges and everything. So that's kind of crazy. But it all came down to money, man. At least for one. Fat Mike, I think what he has said, and what he has really kind of like explained in depth is that he's hurt that a betrayal had come from someone so deeply close to him. He felt betrayed. That whatever he was saying to his friend couldn't be taken at face value, and that was a problem. You know what I mean? Thank you, Ted. Once again, Ted is just lighting up the tips tonight. How close am I to DC? I live in New York, my friend. I'm nowhere near DC. But if you're down in DC, my good friend from high school, Devin, is opening a brand new tiki bar. He has a place called the China Club. No, what is it? The China Cat Club? Is it China Cat Club? I don't know. Dumpling spot. He's opening a brand new bar called Astro Zombie. And he asked me to design the Misfits table. And you know what? Just because we're here, I'm going to show you. This is, I don't know. It's not an exclusive, but wow, I love the smell of this incense. Is fucking great. I'm going to show you what I designed for his table. Let me see if I can find it. Table. Where the fuck is the table? This is for Astro Zombie table. Let's see if I can find this thing. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? You know, it's a great place down in DC. The Black Cat is great. Auto Bar is great down in DC. I know a couple places down in DC. I know a couple spots. I don't. The 930 Club's not around anymore, right? That's long gone. That was before my time. But yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the stickers. Sweet. The Misfits are my favorite band. We cover a lot of Misfits on this channel, people. A lot of Misfit stuff. A lot of Misfit stuff. Oh, it is still there. Okay. The whatchamacallit is still there. The 930 Club. It's great. Hold on. I'm trying to find the Misfits thing that I made. I'm glad to know that the 930 Club is live and well. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can find this. So anyway, so the Spin article was a real whatchamacallit, was a spin job. It was a spin job. Okay, let's take a look at some comments. I think that really covers everything. By the way, I was saying all that stuff from the top of my head. I would advise you to go back and look at Fat Mike's exact words, because maybe I'm slightly off. Where the fuck is this going to really bother me? Astro Zombie. You know what I realized? Oh, I know exactly where it is. Okay. No, you're going to like this. This is very cool. Took me a while. It's like kind of like a mosaic, I guess. Let me see if I can find this thing. I'm going to download it real quick. Hold on. Bear with me. I promise you what I'm about to show you is very, very awesome. Here it is. This is 30 inches by 30 inches. And I personally, these aren't all my files, but I personally, what's it called? Did the layout. I laid this all out myself. And the goal was to create the history of the Misfits on a table where you could drink your drink while looking and noticing, wow, there it is. Okay, here it is. Here, I'm going to share this with you guys real quick. Check this out. This is pretty fucking rad. I'm proud of this. Can you see that? Does it let you? There you go. Look how it's, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. lot of I wouldn't say that they're never before seen photos, but they're definitely rare photos. There's Mike Mindless and his friend Tom. As you can see, it's very, very detailed here. And it took me about, I don't know how long it took me. It took me a little while to do that. Look at Steve Zing, Steve Zing from Sam Hain. So that's Steve right there in his Misfits jacket. And this is a Fiend Club envelope that he got. As you can see, there's just a lot of photos. Mr. Jim, Uncle Floyd button, had to get that in there. So put like a lot of little Easter eggs in here. There's Rocky, Jerry and Doyle's brother. There's a strange photo of Doyle. I don't know if that's even public, actually. It might be that's a very rare photo of Doyle right there. And this guy is a very important figure within Misfits lore, but he's not really known by people, but he's very important. I would say he's important. His name is George Germain, and that's a photograph of George as a young man. There's a Fiend Club. Sorry, we're getting really there. There's me. I put a photo of myself as well as a sticker, because this is like me signing the table. My friend Devin, he said, put one of your stickers in there, and I figured I'll put a photo of myself with Manny, the original drummer, and then I'll be on the table as well. I wanted to be on the table because I thought that would be kind of cool. And so, yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like a big it's a tapestry, I guess. And, I didn't take any of these photos, but I put the layout. It's really fun, really cool. The whole 60% thing he would always talk about is so lame too. It's not as cool as he thinks it is. The Ramones gave 100% till the end. You ain't better cool than the Ramones, Mike. I don't know what you're talking about. The collage is cool as hell. Thank you. I've met all of them, including Danzig, several times. That's awesome. So, all right, let's go back now. Let's take a look at some of the comments here. I'm going to leave this collage up because it's a cool collage. I don't think anybody will mind, right? Oh. The problem is it zooms in too much. I don't want it to be that zoomed in. Let me see if I can zoom it in. Look, there's Bobby Steele right there. Bobby! Hey, Bobby. Bobby Steele, everybody. And we got Erie Vaughn here too. I put Erie in with a drawing of Erie. So Erie and Steve Zing are both in because they're kind of like, Misfits adjacent, There's our guy, Mr. Jim. Fucking love that guy. Mr. Jim, one of the nicest dudes in the history of the world. There's Frank Franche, real character. Sorry, this is devolving into something else. Let's just keep it on topic and then get the fuck out. Yeah, Fat Mike was a great podcast. Is it still going on or is it over? What did he say about Melanie? He was just not nice. He was not nice about any of Fat Mike's team. Who I also referred to as, minions or underlings, whatever at the time, but not the same thing. Not the same thing. I was the guy who suggested that Dan may have been homeschooled. However, I now get the feeling he's just a wet blanket with zero authority on anything punk. After the whole Melvin thing, I'm guessing Mike is not really thinking about Mr. Gatekeeper. Yeah, maybe. Dan is pretty close to my area. That's not nice. He's a weird loser who, instead of going out and starting a band, he made lame videos, YouTube, because he has no real talent. Fat Mike's junkie and his own problem. There's a lot of them, but he did pay for Frampton's flight and hotel, and all he could do in return is cry about it. You know what I didn't like about Dan's video is that he started talking about Fat Mike's drug use. And look, I'm not gonna wait. That is so none of my business, and it's not anything here nor there. But it's just like a guy who goes out of his way to do that for you, to sit there and just slam his drug use. It was unsavory. That was unsavory. People like Dan are like the people Mike Tyson talked about in that quote. Like, everybody talks mad shit until they're on the receiving end of a punch to the face. I like him, but he's a bitch. I like him, but he's a bitch. Dan is a good shit talker. That is all. I used to enjoy his channel, but when I realized he was shit talking for the sake of shit talking, I unfollowed him. Punk Rock Radar seemed to have plenty of good interactions at the same time. Those are the guys that interviewed Mike. Mike gave them such a juicy, soundbite laden interview, like just insane. A big one. That was a big interview for them, I think. Must be. I heard from a few people also around Toronto that Dan sits home all day and doesn't leave the house because when he does, oh my God, that he harasses women. Jesus Christ. Does he work at Starbucks? Can anybody confirm that Dan Frampton works at Starbucks? What happens if Dan doesn't apologize and just keeps making videos without addressing it? So it seems, I mean, we could just go to his YouTube channel and take a look. I don't think that he's made any fucking videos addressing it. Oh, look. Oh my God. He just made a video 11 minutes ago. We have to look at it. We are so, holy shit. All right. So he did just make a video. He did just make a video. We have to look at it right now. Sorry. We're not out of here yet. Especially because do we really want to have another part? We're not going to have it. This is it. I hope this is an apology. Dan, I hope you had enough common sense to apologize here. To do the honorable thing. Here is a brand new Dan Frampton video that came out 11 minutes ago. Well, let me get the cans on. Okay, let's see what Dan has to say in this video. Ready?
Ladies, how's it going? Hey, hi, hello, ladies. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing good. Me, I'm not doing so great. Upon reflection, I feel really bad about how everything went down with the whole NOFX situation. I don't feel great about any of this sort of thing. So I'm basically here to say, like, I deleted that video and I'm very sorry.
That's a good start to the video. Okay, Dan. That's what I'm talking about. So literally, as we're fucking.
Now, I'm not here to get into the whole thing.
Wait a minute. He made this video. Do you think that he made this video? Do you think, is it possible that Dan was watching this video about an apology, and now here he is making the apology right now? Is that possible? Am I being too full of myself right now that Dan would be watching a video and then, I mean, if his name comes up, oh my God, they're talking about me. Like, is Dan the kind of guy that's gonna watch a video being made about him? If so, either which way, Dan, good for you, man. I'm good on Dan Frampton. This is redemption. This is a happy ending, baby. This is a happy ending to this fucking thing. Let's go on.
I'm not going to make an entire drama video on this drama, but if you've been following the situation,
well, let me just up the. If you've been following the situation, Dan, we have been. Dan, you got to get bet. Look, Dan, you're stuck in 720p. You got to get a little bit better, man. You got to get a little bit better. Okay, so a lot of people, apparently a lot of people subscribe to his channel like myself have urged him to delete it. But I'm not saying to delete it. I'm saying that he should, to apologize. To apologize. The crew asked him for an apology, probably DM'd him, and he decided to man up. Whatever. Yes, that's probably what happened. I'm glad that Dan is apologizing. I just can't believe that it came out 11 minutes ago. That's what I'm like, what? Like, it's just so, it's crazy. And that's why And that's why they deleted the screenshots too. So now here's my question. Okay, now it's all making sense. So here's my question. Should this video come down? Should I delete my video now? Do I delete my video? And when I say delete, so see, somebody else says, nah, he's watching. Now let's see, does he acknowledge the $1,700? I'll be curious. I will be curious. I see this a lot, a lot about the way that Dan wears his hat. What's wrong with the way he wears his hat? I think it's fine. I don't have any problem with the way he wears his hat. His appearance is fine. He just looks like a guy, looks like a hipster or whatever. Nah, leave your video up. But I see, I think he's watching and he was like, all right. He listened to me. He listened to me. He said, you know what? I'm going to make that apology video. No, keep it up. Let the man feel shame for years to come. I don't want to make him feel shame for years to come. But if the band deleted their stuff and Dan deleted his, I'm the one that's holding the record of this even happening. So therefore, how about this? I'm going to put this out there. Dan Frampton or NOFX management, I invite you to you email me and tell me that you want this video to come down and I will take it down. Okay? You take this down. See, someone else is agreeing with me. I'm a little full of myself right now, but you absolutely put more pressure on him. He can't ignore the video content. He can't ignore the comments. Dan Frampton and NOFX team, if I invite you to message me if you feel that I need to take this down. Maybe I won't take it down, but I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. They gotta come on the show. Oh, I like that. I like this actually. That's what if you want this deleted, you gotta come on. No, if either one of them came to me, I'll tell you one thing. I'd make it private. I wouldn't delete it, but I would make it private. That's what I would do. All right. Keep it up. You got to keep those numbers to get Glenn on your channel. Let me tell you something. I can't tell you I can't tell you what has been going on behind the scenes for me, but all I could say is if you only fucking knew. If you only knew. I know you're in here. I know you're in here. It's not Glenn. It's definitely not Glenn, but my God, let's just say that if I could only talk. All right, let's keep listening. Let's keep watching Dan. What is Dan? We're only 29 seconds in, but Dan's apologized in the first 29 seconds. Dan, I'm proud of you, bud. I am fucking proud of you, dude. Like respect. At least respect for these first 29 seconds. Let's keep listening.
You're caught up to speed already. I make an entire drama video on this drama, but if you've been following this situation, you're caught up to speed already. Well, you might have realized that this whole NOFX Austin trip journey or whatever ended with one video of me just like screaming and raging for about a half an hour. Now, I feel extremely bad about this. I acted emotionally and irrationally, and I said a bunch of shit that I really regret. I'm not here to make excuses about any of this sort of stuff. I was just simply wrong. I fucked up, and I'm just here to say sorry. So, to Mike and the entire NOFX crew, from me to you guys, I am truly sorry for my immature actions. This was the first time I was going to do anything like this, like travel to a new place, do anything new, go to a festival. It was definitely my first time talking to like industry professionals and people's people, that kind of thing. So when I got down there, admittedly, I didn't really know what to do. But
you know what? I will say this. It takes a lot of fucking balls to do that. That's not easy to do. Still, the $1,700 from the GoFundMe comes into, let's see if he addresses that, but whatever. I'm not going to hold him to that either. I don't know his situation. Sorry, the seltzer's making me burp, but I do think this is quite remarkable. And there's no excuses. It's just an apology with accountability. I am accountable, right? I'm being accountable. But here's the thing. This is a 5-minute video and it was uploaded 11 minutes ago. And this is my big question. Was Dan watching us just now and feel inspired to fucking make this video? I don't know. Who knows? I think it's kind of fucking funny. All right.
It really wasn't so hard. Everybody in the NOFX crew really were so kind with me all the way through all of this, and it really would have been just as simple as reaching out to them or finding them there in that room. In the moment, I had no idea how to handle this situation. I got frustrated, I got flustered, I got angry, I simmered, I stewed, I brooded or whatever. I came home, I did more stewing, and then I made that rage-filled video that I feel
that's full fucking accountability, dude. That's full on accountability, man. Like, I can't argue with that he's being straight up accountable. Again, will he go the distance? Is he going to mention the GoFundMe? I mean, this is the perfect ending to this fucking video. I'm so stoked. Someone says this isn't a coincidence. I mean, I don't know. I still say we cut him a break and unsubscribe. I mean, look, all right, let's keep listening to him.
Feel very bad about. I wish it didn't end this way, because in actuality, I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity. I got to go down to Austin, Texas to South by Southwest for the premiere of the NOFX documentary. This is not something I take lightly, and somehow all of that got clouded because of how frustrated and flustered I got, but I don't want to make excuses. I was wrong, and I fucked up, and I'm sorry. I never make emotional videos like that. I never react like that publicly to interpersonal disputes. It's so
Sorry, I've zoned out there. Let me just take it back.
I make excuses. I was wrong and I fucked up and I'm sorry. I never make emotional videos like that. I never react like that publicly to interpersonal disputes. It's so way out of character. And for all of those reasons, I've taken the video down. The video will remain down, and from here on out, I swear to God, I'm going to act in good faith when it comes to NOFX, because really, they've been nothing but kind to me behind the scenes, and I raged because I was frustrated. Were there...
Dude, oh, come on. Waiting for him to pull out a ukulele? Guys, this is a fucking pretty good apology, man. I can't argue with this. I mean, this is the thing about, in general, with internet apologies. What do you expect? What is someone supposed to do? Here's my blood. Take my blood. You know, I mean, like, what is somebody supposed to do, man? He's handling this the right fucking way. I can't argue with that. Again, is he going to bring up the GoFundMe? This is embarrassing to do this. And, you know, again, the other thing too, having social anxiety, having panic attacks and stuff. I wonder if him being on the internet, doing it through the internet, allows him to like deal with it. I'm sorry. They say, let him finish. Okay, I'll shut up.
Some banger lines in that video. Of course, I cooked. It was a hell of a performance, but it was in that video because I was frustrated. Were there some banger lines in that video? Of course, I cooked. It was a hell of a performance, but
Dan, this is the one. Okay, listen, 2 minutes and 46 seconds in, Dan, you're doing a great fucking job. You did not cook in that video. There were no banging lines in that video. That video was fucking trash. It was trash, dude. It's trash. You did not fucking cook, okay? And again, now you're starting to lose it. You're starting to teeter, Dan. You're doing so good.
It was wrong and it shouldn't exist, so it's down forever. I want to keep this video extremely brief and only talk about the apology, but in the next day or so, I am going to release a review of that movie that I was so privileged and lucky to have gotten to see. And when
that's also restorative, I think, to do an actual review, right? They flew you down there for your journalistic. You have 2,400,000 subscribers, you know, like, I mean, come on, man. Like you should do a review. He says he's going to do a review. That's also so far. I give him a B plus. He gets a letter off for that line about his banger lines and stuff.
That rage-filled video, I may have said some really mean things, and I may have been a little bit hyperbolic, standing on misguided rage.
Okay, that's also not great, like saying you may have, because you were. Just fucking look, if you're already copping to it, just fucking cop to it, dude. Just fucking cop to it. All right. Listen again. Listen, it's like plausible deniability here.
To be honest, the film actually did move me to tears at one point, and I'm excited to share my actual thoughts of this film. And just because I'm very sorry about my actions, some really mean things, so privileged and lucky to have gotten to see. Now, in that rage-filled video, I may have said some really mean things, and I may have. Come on, Dan. You may have been a little bit hyperbolic, standing on misguided rage.
Okay, you may have, or just say, I am hyperbolic. Someone says he's not going to bring up the GoFundMe. He's not going to want to bring attention to it. That will be that's the big elephant in the room, right? That's the big elephant in the room. So he hasn't changed. It just took everyone watching the video from us, the NOFX crew, and the entire world to call him out. I just think it's like, again, I'm kind of shocked. I literally came to YouTube. I was completely unexpected. I said, let's go look at Dan's YouTube channel just to see what videos he's made, what new videos he's made about. And the fact that he literally made a fucking video about fucking Fat Mike, dude. That's nuts.
Because to be honest, the film actually did move me to tears at one point, and I'm excited to share my actual thoughts of this film. And just because I'm very sorry about my actions doesn't mean I'm not going to be a little bit critical, because it's not a perfect film. No films are perfect. So I'm still going to try to approach it with a level of honesty, but just...
Well, look, as you should, because, but the thing too is when you're criticizing anything, it should be constructive criticism. You can't just say something sucks. Not that's what Dan's saying here. You can't just say something sucks. You have to say, I didn't like this. This didn't resonate with me because. There's got to be a because. And what is the because? We all wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. He failed at everything. He gave the film a bad review. Said that it had storyline issues and was boring. He in that original video, he did do that. Okay, keep the video up if he doesn't mention the GoFundMe. That's another. I really don't want to take this video down, period. I thought this was a fun video. But again, if NOFX or if someone comes along and says, hey man, could you just take this down? We squashed it and we don't want a record of, like, I could respect that. I can at least. I'll put it behind a wall. I won't make it public. It'll be for Patreon and YouTube members only.
No, if you watch that one video, it isn't really as bad as I said it was. Now, I've never had to make an apology video like this before. I'm not expecting anybody to accept my apology, but just know I feel so bad that it went down like this. I feel so bad about how I acted in this situation, and
that I could believe. That I truly could believe. I think he did feel bad about it. I think he did feel bad. I think he's doing, this is the right thing. Even though I'm not going to like sit here and fucking hang him over, a couple of really cringe lines, because this is overall, I'd say this is a pretty good apology.
I've learned what to do in the future if I'm ever presented in a situation like this ever again, God forbid. So to Fat Mike, the crew, and everybody, I'm so sorry, but also you gotta know how thankful I am. I'm endlessly thankful to Fat Mike, the entire crew, and my audience for making this possible.
Look, even if it's lip service or not, like, this is what an apology is. Like, this is what an apology is. How is anybody supposed to be able to move on from something if you don't? He's literally going on the internet and publicly acknowledging this. That's not fucking easy to do. I will give him props on that. Okay. No matter what his reasoning is, whether he really truly feels that he was wrong or that he's trying to reverse this so that he could just go about his merry way, he's still taking responsibility for his actions.
for making this whole thing come true. And that's another reason why I feel
yes, that was a horrible that was horrible that he said that he had banger lines that cooked. That is pretty conceited thing to say about that video. He should be I would be fucking embarrassed. I would just be embarrassed and I would feel cringe. So I don't know. Man. He'll never be presented with this opportunity again. I was thinking about that this entire time. I was like, I don't know that he would ever be given such an opportunity ever again. He might have fumbled his one opportunity. I never say never, and you never know. Maybe Fat Mike, out of the graciousness of his heart, will come on his show. That would be a very nice sort of resolution. If that happened, I would not talk about it. This is the very last thing to discuss. This is the very last thing about this thing that we need to discuss. We don't need to go. This was the fucking be all end all. This is a banger of an ending to this, whatever this is. Why would you take the video down? It's documenting social media history. Keep it up, especially until the money gets refunded. I wouldn't have known about the GoFundMe if it wasn't for you. All right, maybe maybe I will keep it up. If you didn't do the whole may have and banger lines thing, I would have given him more of the benefit of the doubt. I do agree that was pretty shitty. He could have acted professional and had more opportunities to destroy his credibility. That's what it is. He has destroyed his credibility. He made this apology and whatever. Yeah, he'll go back to making YouTube videos. I don't know, man. Maybe Fat Mike will come on his show now. I don't know. Or maybe Fat Mike is just like, no, you fucking, you're cooked.
so bad that I dropped the ball as it pertains to this whole thing. I allowed my frustration to get the better of me, and although everybody had the best intent in mind, the best content and the best outcome certainly did not happen, and a lot of that is my fault. So I'm sorry to anybody that I've let down, but also know I'm extremely thankful. I'm not done grinding. I'm not done making content. I got comic books to make. I got reels to make. I got 2 YouTube channels to keep going, and I plan on keeping this grind going hardcore. And without you guys, there's no way I'm able to create what I want to create every single day. I'm extremely privileged and I'm extremely lucky, and I don't take any of it for granted. This video was harder than most videos for me to make. I stumbled my way through it, which is why you see so many jump cuts through it. I'm so sorry about all of that. And like the old drama YouTuber adage goes, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, and this time I was the nail. I'm very sorry. Okay, I gotta end this video.
That last line was good. That's being a good sport about it. Sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. He is most certainly the nail, and he's recognizing that he is the nail. That I can appreciate. He did not, but we are at the end. No mention of a $1,700 GoFundMe, or acknowledging that his hotel was paid for. That's kind of fucked.
You know what? I don't even know what I'm doing here anymore. I hope to see you in my next video. Okay, goodbye. See you later, and have a good one.
I wonder, does he feel peace now that he did that? Guys, that's the end of the show. That's the end. I mean, I can't, I literally, we're just going around in circles. That was the conclusion. Dan apologized. He didn't acknowledge. Okay, so let's find a way out. This is the okay, this is the Jerry Springer final moment of the show. He started off really strong. This is my review. This is my review of the Dan Frampton apology over going to the NOFX documentary premiere in South by Southwest. Dan started off really strong with his apology. Like the first 2 minutes and 50 seconds, I was like, wow, that's fucking. And again, like I said, here we are, does I'm not gonna highlight that comment. that he made $1,700. No. Let's see. I wonder if did he take down the GoFundMe? No, it's still up there. The NOFX fund. He raised, here's how much he actually raised. That's not true. He raised this much money. Sorry, Dan, we know you just made an apology, but here we go. He made $2,400 Canadian, 1,760 raised American. Okay. So yeah, he did not address that part at all in his apology video. And yes, the GoFundMe is technically still up. So like I said, he did pretty well for the first 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Then he goes into this whole diatribe of yeah, I was cooking and I had banger lines and just, oh, did he trip so hard all over his face? Kind of recovers a little bit, offers to sort of some restoration by reviewing, doing a proper review of the movie, and then doesn't speak on the GoFundMe. So I'm going to give his apology. It's a passing grade. I'm going to give it a B minus. It's a B minus. I'm going to give him a B minus. That is just, I'm giving him a B minus that's getting butt fucked by a C plus. Does that make sense what I just said? A B minus getting butt fucked by a C plus. That is where I put that apology. Like I said, took most responsibility, did not take full responsibility. Full responsibility would be dissolving and refunding the GoFundMe money. It's possible that he spent the money and cannot pay it back and therefore is not acknowledging that. Which would be something else. And he has to make that proper video. Oh, another thing about his apology, he should have personally apologized to Melanie and to Sharky, right? Like he should have apologized to them because he mentioned them by name in the video and he did not make a personal apology. I'm going to agree with David. It's a C minus, maybe a solid C. It's a solid C. Is it a C? Well, it was part of the promotional budget. I'm sure they send out flyers to various media members. It's kind of pro forma. Still, he had to take quite a few days off work to do it. Like what? Here's the thing. No matter what, it doesn't matter whether it was part of the promotional budget. If Fat Mike personally paid for him to fly out there. Like there's probably people that were invited. Initially, he was invited without paying for his flight. Dan said, I can't afford to go down there. And Fat Mike said, I'll pay for your flight and hotel. Right. So yeah, but okay. So the things that are really missing from this apology, personal apologies to Melanie and Sharky should have happened. Acknowledgement of the GoFundMe and the full line about the bangers or whatever. Otherwise, I would say pretty good fucking apology. But I think we're gonna have to give it a C. I think, yeah, it's getting knocked down. It's not getting the C doesn't have a strap on and going into the B minus. It doesn't matter whether it's part of the promotional budget or not. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Someone says, wait, why would he pay it back? Of course, he spent the money. They covered the flight and he had to pay for his own hotel and Uber and that kind of stuff. So, okay. So just to explain something to you, Vonnegut, Rosewater, Fat Mike paid for his hotel as well. And you're right. He doesn't necessarily have to pay the money back, but the point was that in his video, I think you're not aware of this, in one of his videos for that GoFundMe, he made mention that he needed to pay for his hotel. So people were donating to a GoFundMe under the guise that they were subsidizing Dan Frampton's hotel stay when they weren't, because he had the money. So that's the deception, I think. I like that you said Bill Burr before he became, because fuck Bill Burr, man. I liked Bill Burr a lot. I thought what he did was very hypocritical, and he's really Bill Burr has destroyed his career. But let me tell you, I'll never forget, that guy Ethan Klein had Bill Burr on. Bill Burr eviscerated him. I would be fucking intimidated as fuck to interview Bill Burr. Or, I mean, even Fat Mike would not be an easy interview. I don't know. How would I interview Fat Mike? I think I know how I would. I think I know how I would do that. Vonnegut says, I mean, what is 3 nights in a hotel in Austin? I mean, it's a pretty huge chunk of 1,700 right there. Yeah, Vonnegut, I don't know if you heard us, but they covered the hotel cost. So that was not part of the cost. Look, you could still very easily spend 1,700 in 2 days. I'm not going to lie. But, I mean, he had all of the basic fundamental needs of his trip were covered, apart from, I guess, lost wages. I don't know. So I don't really, and he says, an Uber to and from per diem for 3 meals a day. I think you're out of touch, man. He claimed that he had to take 3 or 4 days off his full-time job at Starbucks. He had to get his driver's license renewed so he could fly. Sure, he was trying to raise $2,500. What did it say in the, oh God, it's saying the fucking thing. It was his goal. Wait a minute. He raised 1,760 of 2.4K. So what's 2.4K? The goal was 2,400 Canadian. What's 2,400 Canadian to US dollars is 17. Wait, what? Okay. So, and if that is on, let's do some quick math. What was the goddamn final goal? Hold on a second. I'm taking a look here. It doesn't say. Normally it says. It doesn't actually say what the final. So what's 74%? Hold on, we can do this math. So dollars. Sorry, I'm not talking. Is 74% of what number? The answer is, so he was trying to raise $2,355 US, not Canadian, right? And then 2,300. Son of a bitch. So 24, yeah, US to Canadian. Sorry. Wow, I am just sucking right now. There we go. That's what we wanted. So he was trying to raise 3,300 Canadian dollars. That's what he was trying to raise in total. Honestly, he was pretty transparent about it. If you read his GoFundMe, he has a bullet for everything he's going to be spending the money on. Are you just ignoring the fact that his hotel was paid for? I don't know what else to say to you. Like, you're just ignoring. You just keep ignoring the facts. Mike paid for the flight. At least didn't get. He had that. They claimed that he covered the lodging, dude. Like, what do you want? I don't know what. I didn't claim it. I'm just asking. I'm just people asking what he did with the 1,700 and trying to line it up. I appreciate that, Vonnegut. I appreciate that. But you keep ignoring the key fact that the hotel cost that much money. It's okay. I apologize for my DC over New York punk since the Misfits are my favorite band. You know, it's good that, you know, a lot of people think the Misfits are a New Jersey band. The Misfits are a New York band. Okay. Like people are making it seem like 1,700 of just pure petty cash to go spending. I think it's a little hyperbolic. Okay. Between Ubers and food and getting his like license and stuff renewed, like he's probably got it. Maybe that would take up half the money. It doesn't matter either which way. He claimed on his video, I need to cover my hotel. Fat Mike paid for the hotel. That's the deception. That's the deception. That's the scam. That's a scam. Alleged scam. Allegedly. Right? It's not 760 Canadian. It's 760 American. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Regardless, if I donated money to a GoFundMe to a channel that would lead to awesome content towards the channel, regardless, if I donated money to a GoFundMe to a channel that would lead to awesome content towards the channel, but instead he had a panic attack and no content was posted to the channel. Right. I could appreciate that. Either which way, he didn't. Hold on. I just want to see what I want Vonnegut to agree with me. Agree with me. No, sorry. If anything, I thought the more ethical problem Dan had was lecturing people about their alcohol consumption and their sobriety, which is sort of his business. Okay, do me one favor, though. Like, seriously, do me one favor. Can you please acknowledge the thing about say that you understand that Fat Mike paid for the hotel room, too? That's all I'm asking for. Please acknowledge that. This fucking... But I don't really have any ethical problem with him raising 1,700. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem either. It's just more, everything. It doesn't matter what he needed the money for. It's just that he was asking for money for something that he didn't use the money for. Not everything was paid for. The money was to reimburse him for taking 3 days off work. That's like what, $500 a night, 300 meals, $500 right there, 3 meals a day, Uber rides to and from. I don't know, man. My understanding was that the only thing that was covered was the flight and the entry into the event. Okay, Vonnegut, go to the beginning of this video and read the screenshot that we read at the very beginning where Jay, the manager of NOFX, exclaims and provides and claims he has receipts that Fat Mike paid for Dan's hotel stay. Okay? That's the point. That's the whole friggin' point. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Vonnegut is Dan's burner account. I don't know if you guys have ever traveled for work, but per diem is usually like $80 a day or something, and that's just food. Okay, if Dan was there for 48 hours, $80 a day is still $160 out of $1,700. Plus Ubers, like, come on, man. Reimbursed him for taking time off work sounds like a lame excuse. That does sound like a lame excuse. I mean, Dan could be using like comp days or something, even at Starbucks. I don't fucking whatever. I don't fucking know. I don't know. This is the end. You're right. Ted is right. Dude, we need to stop giving this ungrateful wet blanket. It's over. It's over. I'll give Dan gets partial credit for his apology, but he does not get full credit. Okay? Read the GoFundMe. He promises viewers entertaining content from the event. Users donated money and got absolutely zero content in return. Why is she so defensive for Dan? I don't think she's being, it's not that she's being defensive for Dan. She's just looking, I understand what Vonnegut's saying. What's frustrating me, and I'm not frustrated with you, Vonnegut, at all, but I'm just saying, like, what you're not acknowledging is that you're not acknowledging that the hotel was paid for. The hotel was paid for. That's the point. the hotel was the hotel and the flight are the biggest expenses. And frankly, the hotel is probably the biggest expense, probably even more so than how many nights did he stay? If you stayed for 2 nights, you would imagine if he was there for 3 to 4 days, dude, if you're there 3 to 4 days, why didn't he go to all 4 fucking screen? Whatever. It's over. It's over. This is the end. This is the end. Yes, we know I got an I Hate Fat Mike video that's no longer public. Yeah, true. All right, guys, this was wow. I didn't think we would do a whole extra hour, and the viewer retention was crazy, and we did it. We did the thing. We got the best possible ending in the situation, a Dan Frampton response video in real time, so that we could kind of put a neat little bow, because there's no more satisfaction that's going to come out of this. It's done. The whole thing is done. Thank you for joining me. I do believe we will be back tomorrow. Is anybody a fan of the Ramones? Because tomorrow we are unboxing a brand new Ramones tribute record that came out. I'm going to have CEO Sharpie RIOT on with me, and we're going to listen through and sort of decide if we like the covers, these Ramones covers. Kind of like if you were there, we did the Misfits tribute record, same label. We did the Misfits tribute record somewhere back on the channel. Go search up that, where I was dancing all funny to the really fun, interesting dance versions of Misfit songs. So now I guess there's a Ramones one. I don't know if it's going to be the exact same vibe, but whatever. In any case, thank you so much. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the tips, Ted, and everybody have a wonderful night. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Join us in the live stream. Peace, hair grease, and all the rest.